It's gone! Wilson Contreras, a two-run home run to left center field. And the Cubs extend the lead. 5-0 over the Reds here in the fifth.
1-2 to Martinez. They lead at every base, tied in the 10th pitch. It hit him, and the Red Sox will take the lead. It came up and in on Martinez. Bradley will score, and it's 4-3.
And the lefty at the belt deals. Swung on. There goes to left. It is high. It is far. It is gone. Whoa, what a shot. Over the grandstand. Way back in the bleachers. A judging blast. Well, obviously, it's Judgment Day. He hits a two-run home run to deep left. All rise. Here comes the judge.
6-5 Twins. 2 out. 2-2 count, runner at third, bottom of the 10th. Here it comes. A swing and a fly ball, deep left field. Down the line it goes. Gordon in the corner. Gone! A walk-off. 2-run home run by Josh Naylor. Down the left field line. It's a game winner and a mob scene at home plate.
We have our lineup.
What the heck you waiting on?
Josh Naylor. He was a maniac last night in that rally by the Guardians in their win against the Twins. Good Thursday morning, David.
How's it
going?
Who more do you associate with, Teixeira or Naylor?
Mark Teixeira?
No, not D.
Oh.
College to Major
Yeah.
League Baseball. Guys that have those dad bods that hit the ball a long ways that you're like, those guys have a lot of fun.
I wouldn't mind hitting against that Twins bullpen over the last week.
It has been shoddy.
Yeah, with the fourth blown save in the last 7, and the Guardians won last night. Good morning, everybody. Welcome in on a Thursday. Does it feel like it's the last day of June?
No.
We've reached the end of June. We are halfway through
Feels like I don't have a lineup
2022.
sheet, though. Does that feel like that for you?
You got 1 through 9. You don't know who's going to pencil in. We got the top of the order.
I'm trying.
Who you
I
got
feel- I
that
feel like we're
key
getting- I feel
cleanup
like
spot?
we're getting ready to have a broadcast on Westwood One, and there's gamesmanship where they haven't released the lineup yet.
Yeah.
Just want to get your cards ready.
Yeah.
Can we do that?
Oh, now
we-
Shane has
we-
left the studio.
No, we guilted him into it.
He's like, I'll get it now. I'll get it now.
Well, what was the holdup? What was the holdup?
I'm not sure. Shane's like,
Yeah,
yeah,
whatever that means.
whatever. You got to.
that means.
But welcome in, everybody. It is Sharp and Betting in the morning.
It is not.
Yeah, it still is. You and I are here. Shane has just
you-
left the studio.
Just you. And
Chance is in the studio this morning
Hi,
as well.
Chance. What's up,
Yo.
Chance? He said, yeah.
Good morning.
Whoa, you say yo at 6:09? That's an awful yearly yo.
Yeah.
Hell yo.
Hello.
We don't cuss on the show, but that's
Heck
okay.
yo.
Shane drops a couple of inappropriate references. though.
But we have a busy lineup. It's also a Thursday, so that means you have a chance to win from Oscar's Pizza and Grill and ask us anything. We also have a chance with the Baseball Montage Open that did not include Vladdy not being very happy last night, Toronto and Boston. It did not include because it was a late night game and because they play on the West Coast and they're not very good. People don't pay as much attention, and they should because they have the game's best players. What Shohei Ohtani is doing is unbelievable once again. He did it last year at the plate, combined with what he did on the mound. This year, he is doing it on the mound because he was great again last night against the White Sox. He had 11 strikeouts. The Sox struck out 15 times in that loss. But during the stretch where he hasn't allowed a run in the last 3 games that he has started, he has also hit 4 home runs.
Nip that echo in the bud.
The pregnant pause there. Did you see what I did?
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell people right now, this is going to be chaos today. There's no doubt about it. This show is just going to be chaos. We're in transition on Sharp and Betting in the morning, and it's just going to be a nightmare today. Okay, so everybody buckle up. But what Shohei Ohtani is doing,
Well,
I mean, you can't believe
it's been 12 minutes and we haven't had the random noise. That's gonna happen.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure. Isn't that right, old Chancy Pants?
I made sure it was in the proper alignment, so it wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Well, we're all right. We're already making progress. Making progress.
But Ohtani, if you have not seen his act, it is better than it was last year.
You love him.
How can you not?
Well,
The guy does it on the
pretty
mound,
easy.
does it at the plate. He's a funny guy. Did you see him when they had the bench clearing get together the other day
Yeah.
against Seattle? He came out and he like hugged somebody to pull him away.
just
His
like to
interpreter was in the middle of it.
Can I just press pause, although I'm not pregnant, that I just would like to see a little more in like meaningful things in crunch time. It's easier to do those kinds of things when you're in non-high leverage situations. They lose a lot of games. He stacks a lot of stats, and he has fun doing it. Like, give me like a critical game 4 or, a play-in game or something like that. I mean, there's no pressure on the guy.
He's doing it both at the mound and the plate, and I don't think he's going to have one of those kind of games as long as he stays in Los Angeles. I think there's some people on the East Coast that have a lot of money that would be very enticing to go get him when he is available. But he's one of those guys that has elevated himself in the world of sports that I think you would go out of your way to go watch. Like if he's pitching down at the K, you were looking at the probables, you're probably going to hop in your car from Omaha and drive down 29 and go watch him.
Shohei.
But last night he was great again. Again, last 3 games that he started.
Tim Buck says you can't spell his first and last name correctly on the first try without looking at it. I'd almost guarantee it.
Ohtani.
Well, who?
Ohtani.
How you pronounce it, or how do you spell his first name?
Shohei.
How do you spell it?
SHOA. Oh wait, SHOAI.
Yeah, free me.
You say free meat?
Yeah, no, free me. Winner. Chicken to the bone dinner. SHOHEI.
I was just off by a letter.
Yeah.
It's been a long time. 5th grade was the spelling bee. You can't expect me to put me on the spot. I mean, tell me to spell Krzyzewski.
I had Mrs. Solo as my librarian at Lord Dodge Elementary. And you talk about a high leverage situation. I was supposed to be a smart kid, won all the travel, the multiplication games, yada, yada, yada. Your boy could not spell chief to advance to the next round of the school spelling bee. Devastated, traumatized, still remember. And Mrs. Solo was a very nice, soft-spoken lady, and she said, "I'm sorry, that is incorrect." I prefer I'd have gotten Shohei. I'd have spelled that right. Guarantee you.
I'm impressed by you that you knew what your librarian's name was.
Yeah, she was pretty fantastic. We sat on ladybug chairs when we were good students. And if you were the Chance thinks that's funny. Yeah, they were there's a little 3-legged stool and it was painted like a ladybug. And when you were a good student, you got to sit on the ladybug chairs. What's wrong with that?
No, it's fun the things you remember.
Yeah, I have one of those memories, Chancy Pants. And my fellow Lord Dodginians can back me up on that. Had one of the greatest principals of all time, Ramona Barty. Very strict. Will whoop your behind if she felt like it. Dare you to say otherwise. The ladybug chairs. Very small. You had to have a narrow bunda. But when you're a little kid, a lot of times it fit. Not all that comfortable. I mean, the stool was only about 1.5 feet high.
Yeah, but there's the pride of being on the ladybug chair.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't care if it's comfortable or not.
Remember when
a lot of people that go for a ride that they're just happy to be there.
Remember when it used to be fun to have people read to you? Now it's like, oh my gosh, can you hurry up? Like, what happened?
No, I think when I go to schools and read to kids, they're excited.
Because
I do all the voices.
But you probably do. Just going to full-fledged character.
Yeah, I mean, what
you should do?
Like little kids are sitting there going, "Oh, here we go again! Another adult's reading a book."
What you should really do is,
I'm like, "Here comes the monster!"
Oh my gosh, is recap like games. Say things like Judginian Blast, and here comes the judge and Judgment Day.
Hicks to the sticks.
You know what I mean? And Naylor nailing another one. And kids would be like, "Oh my gosh, this dude's on PCP."
No, I enjoy reading to the kids. Yeah, you gotta mix it up. Because I was sitting in front of an adult.
You'd be
back
so
in the day.
corny though.
No, I'm not really corny, but I do the voices, and people are like, "Oh, that's cool," and it's got to be memorable instead of like, "Okay, here, Dick went down to the grocery store and got a pack of cigarettes."
It's 2022. The kids don't have those names anymore.
Richard went to the grocery store
I
and
don't
got a
think-
pack of lung darts.
It would be closer to Ricardo than Richard. Okay, we don't do Dick and Jane anymore. Do you even know a Jane? Jane is another one of those names that is oh, by the way.
I don't think I do. I haven't known many Janes in my lifetime. Yeah.
You make me laugh.
But you got me thinking. Do I know? Yes. My librarian at St. Pius X
Was named Jane Seymour. Let me guess. That's what you're
She
gonna
was-
make up.
She was a senile nun.
Whoa.
She was.
Did you know that at the time, or is this
No.
now that you're old
okay,
enough
so
to know what
Here's
how
the
it was
story. I
going
didn't
to-
know we were going to start with this today.
I
'cause-
didn't either. It was
yeah.
about the ladybug chairs and reading.
Well, now we've gone to
Does anybody else remember the ladybug chairs? I'm curious.
951-1620.
Hey, I went to Lower Dodge. What are the odds?
We
I
shared
said-
a chair.
No, but here's the funny thing. I said Roger Ray once, chemistry teacher
Mhm.
that I had at Northwest. Somebody emailed me right away. Hey, I had that guy, and all I said was chemist try because he had that in his classroom.
It's a small world.
So maybe somebody
Small
had
town.
Mrs. Soho. So
Okay, maybe somebody here had. I believe her name was Sister Margaret, and she was senile.
that's original.
She was senile. She must have been like 95 years old. But here was the deal: like they didn't want to retire her,
Mhm.
and so they kept her in a job, and they thought the less damage she could do was in the library. Well, she had no clue where things were.
Wow.
Like she had an assistant.
Dewey was losing his
She
mind.
had an assistant that helped her. But I think, because they didn't want to put her out to pasture. So they kept her employed as the librarian.
Oh, I don't think you do that.
No, it was like I asked. And one of the non-nuns said, yeah, that's what they do is they don't want to, they have nowhere to retire, but they want to be around kids and they want to be in the school. And I also think she was really good friends with the principal at the time, Sister John Agnes. So yeah, my library experience as a grade schooler was not very good because the librarian had no idea where things were, which I think is one of
So you
the
needed
prerequisites
you
to
needed
being
Mrs.
a
Solo.
librarian. Yeah, I could have used Hans' mom.
Let's be
It was not.
used her for what? And could have been because that was early 80s. Star Wars came out in what, Chance? 79, 80?
Yeah,
80
late
more.
70s.
It goes 77, 80, and 83.
A little, I forget. We've got a real movie Rolodex now. That's one thing. If we were ever going to have dueling producers,
Mm-hmm.
like their movie buff history stuff would be very, very interesting. Because Shane is quick to say, I mean, he knows a lot about that stuff, but I mean, Chance may be equally formidable.
Oh yeah, we have frequent interactions on Twitter about that sort of thing.
Do you?
Yeah.
I believe it because you guys have some similar recall mannerisms.
Well, I was running board for when they were out at Warner, and Connor had never seen Jurassic Park, and
Connor hasn't seen anything.
so me and Josh were giving him the business
Yeah.
just the whole time, essentially.
It's kind of interesting. There's no, we don't have any like meet me halfways, the over the top song with Connor because he hasn't seen anything. But he did-
Jurassic Park 1993, by the way.
Hey, there's Shane. Hey, Shane,
What else?
how you
What else
doing?
you want to know?
hey, he didn't even look that up. He just moseyed on over to the microphone and was like Jurassic Park
You
1993.
want to test both of us?
No,
Who's got the
Shane.
better knowledge.
So wow, competitive little dude. So Jurassic Park was 1993. Who does Carlos Rodon pitch for?
Or Damon.
Do you have any idea?
I know who he is.
Do you?
Why are you asking the tough questions already? It's
I
six-
just was
it's
giving our
Hey.
audience a dose of.
six-
Okay.
It's 6:19 in the morning.
Okay, if you will get extra points if you can name his college and his last two professional teams.
No, give him one.
I know I'm giving him options. Like he can just throw a dart at a dartboard and go.
Well, he probably pitched for the Yankees because everybody pitched for the Yankees.
No, they made a run at him, but they thought he was shot. Now
So
he's
he
back there
pitches.
touching
He
mid-90s
pitches
again.
in the New York City of the West Coast.
So he's with the Mets.
I could go with that. That's a tough clue, though.
With the
He's just thinking big, crowded, dirty city.
so pitches in San Francisco.
Damn.
Hey, that's pretty good. Now we couldn't be game show partners or anything, but that was
Well,
impressive.
you throw me the movie knowledge.
Well, I feel like it would be better like if I asked you like songs from movies and stuff because
Okay,
that's
like what do
that's
you, what do you get?
well, we couldn't get the over the top song. Remember, we had to go to Twitter. Twitter helped me out.
Yeah, Twitter's very good. Yeah, I haven't seen that movie since the 80s, so.
What's
And I
that
wasn't
one?
into that type of music during the 80s.
What would you call that? Like a rock ballad?
Mm-hmm. That
You
would
didn't
probably
like-
be the best way to describe
You
it.
don't
Yeah.
you weren't into that? That wasn't your thing?
Rock ballads when I was like 12.
You weren't an Oh Sherry or
No,
You weren't in your feelings yet?
no, I wasn't in my
Highway
feelings yet.
Run.
No, not so much.
Hey, who was that chant? Was that pretty good? Would you
That's
like that?
pretty good.
Thank you. Especially for a guy that's got a raggedy voice. Was who that's Journey, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was Steve Perry Journey, not new Steve Perry,
yeah.
who
It-
sounds like Steve Perry but doesn't look like Steve
Yes,
Perry,
he
and it's
does.
amazing.
Hey, so in this last 164 seconds, Rodon, the Giants, Journey, Steve Perry.
Welcome to the last day of June. It's only going to go up from here
Is that
or
what-
down.
So, do you know the months that don't have 31 days in them?
Shane?
Chance. My mind's on
Yes.
chance. What are they? 'Cause I don't
They
know.
are. So I'm going to show you the trick I know how to do it.
Oh,
So
here we go. Don't you like when I just give you a
So
great big
it
term
is
blow pop this early in the
February,
morning? Uh-huh.
April, June, September, November. Yeah, those ones.
So what is the hand thing?
So
do?
basically, you put your hands together. Every place you have a knuckle is a month with 31. And then every time there's a dip, it's got 30, or in February's case, 28 or 29.
Wow, that's deep.
That was from Mrs. Triplett in 4th grade.
See, look at all these educators having impact on
Yeah.
our lives. That's the 4th teacher that has been referenced. Shane, you got one whose lap you used to like to sit on?
No,
What?
not at all.
What?
Never.
You can't do that anymore, but that was the thing back then.
To sit on a teacher's lap?
Yes.
I was infatuated with Mrs. Kelly in 6th grade. I never sat on her lap, even though the 6th grade Gary Sharp would have been like, okay. I don't think that happened at my school.
First of all, it's different with who's sitting on whom. Okay.
Okay.
So get that out of your head right away. You're sitting on her lap, not vice versa.
Oh.
Wow. Wrong
Yeah, but
with
I
you.
don't remember a lot of my classmates sitting on their teachers' laps. Maybe it was a Catholic school thing.
That's usually.
I just don't think that was part of our curriculum back then. May have changed since then. All right, let me give you the lineup for the show. Did you ever think, Gary Sharp, when you were driving in today and you were sitting
Did you not see
sitting at-
Chance looking at me like this?
sitting at 52nd and Dodge, that this is what the first 20 minutes of the show is going to be? No, I did not. I was wondering why the lady was brave enough at 52nd and Dodge this morning not to have her dog on a leash that was running with her. I thought
Yeah.
that dog is pretty good.
I told you the time I was chastised once, and it's not going to happen again. Get your dog on a leash. We went back and forth, and I was like, well, it's my yard. But since then, I have seen numerous social media posts about people not having their dogs on a leash, even though they're in their own yard. And I feel like I was in the wrong. So it will not happen again. I now have a little, can't see this on. Oh, yeah, sure you can. I have a little screw thing that goes in the ground,
Ground
and I attach the leash to it. Now, one dog needs it, the other dog doesn't.
Because it's better behaved.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yesterday, I spent $408 on blood work, a checkup, and I don't know why I needed a stool sample with the blood work, and a stool sample and medication.
For
For
one of
a
your
do-
dogs?
Yeah, he has a gum that is enlarged. It's swollen around his, I think it's a canine or something like that,
Mhm.
one of his teeth. And I noticed he just was a very slow eater, but he's only 5, so it's not like he's like decrepit or anything.
But you're a good pet owner because you didn't think twice.
Well, I actually would have if I had known it was going to be $408. And I immediately got online to Trupanion and I was like, hey, how close am I to this deductible? Dude.
Pets can be expensive.
Yeah, this is my own version of the crying game.
Let me give you the lineup for the show today. Brought to you by the Rooferys and John Higgins Weather Guy.
What was intimated?
You know what? If you watch more of Otani, you'd be a lot more happier.
High leverage. I'm not hating. I mean, I kind of am. I
He
like
can't-
him. He's talented.
He can't
but-
do anything with. He can only do himself.
Yeah, but so I can. It's like Bradley Beal.
Well, it's just like you said something about Mike Trout. I mean, Mike Trout might only play in one playoff series. He got swept by the Royals.
I can enjoy Bradley Beal going for 26 a night on a night in which the viewing audience is Mrs. Beal and Mrs. Beal's sister.
He declined $36.4 million.
Yeah, I wonder what he's gonna do now, because that's a different
'Cause
declining than
I thought he was going to
than
re-up with the
Harden,
Wizards.
who wants to restructure for more bodies. Which, if it's what's his buckets from the annoying guy in Houston and now Milwaukee, what's his name?
PJ Tucker,
Yeah,
who's
like
signing with the Sixers.
that's what we're on. That's not a championship.
Yeah, and especially an East Division that got one team in Atlanta got better yesterday. We'll talk about that because today
How
is
would you
the-
like to be Bobby Portis and get like a $6 or $7 million raise? That's per year. I mean, dude's gonna go from
Yeah.
like what 4.8 to like 11.
Mhm. Sometimes you have the power when your contract comes up. You opt out. They need you.
The snap
They-
power or the which I got the power.
All the I got the power.
It's getting kind of hectic. I
But-
almost slipped up this morning, didn't I, Chance? It was just in the news again, so it was on my mind. Another lawsuit. Fresh.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Not as bad as visiting Chinese restaurants yesterday during the crossover, but
I'm sure about as fresh as R. Kelly will be today.
yeah.
It is.
Just don't put that guy in General Pop.
It is the first day of NBA free agency that we will discuss because there was a big trade yesterday.
What is it, an R&B basketball thing? Like why are we interweaving R. Kelly and you thinking Space Jam or like
I'm
why-
sure there's a lot of people that have interacted with R. Kelly that
They were in
played
the
in the
NBA?
NBA.
Oh yeah, is that right?
He used to sit courtside in Chicago.
They believe they could fly?
Yeah, he could be sitting courtside for a long time.
Yeah.
That was a rough day for Mr. Kelly.
Rough. He earned it. Like Smith and Barney.
Well, it was rough leading up to that, apparently. He got 30. A little bit later. I have no idea.
That's a sports take. He got 30.
He got 30.
He's almost Bradley Beal's points per game once.
Yeah, he got 30. And
Harden averaged 30.
yeah, I think I'd avoid that 30.
You mean being over his age?
No, where you belong to somebody else for 30 years. Coming up a little bit later on the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys of John Higgins.
There's another joke in there, but I ain't going there.
This is like peak off season, 58 days away from the start of the season.
Hey, I got one. My man Joe B. His mom remembers the ladybug chairs. I'm telling you, man, it was a thing. I'm happy now. That dude never lets me down.
Like, what happened if you didn't get taken to the ladybug
it's
chair?
traumatizing. Well, you were guaranteed.
You shamed?
You were guaranteed.
Did you have to sit in
if
those
your
plastic chairs?
If your birthday was during the school year, because that was the other time you got to sit on the ladybug chairs.
Okay.
Then there were two.
The dangling of the ladybug chair.
It's called incentive.
I see that. What are we talking here? Second, third grade?
Yeah.
We're talking a little Damon running around.
Yes. Little Damon.
You would hold hands with Jessica.
No, Jennifer Heinzen.
Well, you even know the last name.
Yeah.
Whoa, she had an impact in your life.
Nah, there's a couple. Christine Northrup, Latasha Stanford.
Like Trisha Davidson, Bridget Duffy.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, you're right. You know, we do remember younger, like your first like little crush.
Yeah.
You remember what their last name was?
Lisa Jenner's.
I'm not stopping you. You want to just keep going?
Yeah, Jenny Hightoff.
Jenny Layden. But I'm afraid that some of these people are listening.
It's okay.
Yeah, and they're gonna get back to me like,
I told you. I probably better not. Her husband will be like, "Dang, that's my wife."
Sarah Baker Hansen will join us coming up at 8. There's lots to discuss. Unfortunately, we are in a run of a couple of weeks in this town, a great food town. We have some long-time staples that are closing their doors. So SBH will join us coming up at 8. Stephen M. Sipple will stop by at 8:30.
Are we just gonna dub her SBH? That's kind of cool.
She's got a brand.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
SBH.
SBH.
Think she'll vibe with that?
I think she will. It's in her Twitter handle, SBH Omaha.
Okay. What do you want?
What was the girl you named? Jennifer who?
Hi, Toff.
And what was the girl you named?
Jenny Layden.
My girl was Jennifer Merla. So I mean, we all had Jennies there.
Could have had a threesome there with the J. Ask Us Anything brought to you by Oscar's Pizza and Grill. I'll be here all day. I'm just going to stick through the crossover, the midday show, afternoon show. I'll be here all day.
Poor Chance is traumatized.
Is Shane, is you or Chance doing Ask Us Anything? Shane's going to do Ask Us Anything today.
Oh, let Chance. He's a better reader.
No, Shane has one more.
Well, print them off. Let Chance read them. I can't only stand for so much. So if you guys had to wait. Picking between, I should have read this before.
So if you guys had to pick between,
That's pretty good impersonation.
so if you guys had to pick between Jennifer Hightop and Jenny
High
Layden
top. That was middle school. So my
and
taste had
Jennifer
transitioned.
Merla, who would you pick?
Jenny Layden was smoking in 8th grade.
Yeah, my taste has changed dramatically. I don't know if I'd like any one of those people. Maybe Christine.
I told the
Norbert.
story about
She
her.
moved to
She's,
California. Now that was tough because that was my neighbor.
I've told the story before.
She could throw, hit.
So my Jenny,
My Jenny.
Jenny is like has a high ranking position in state government in Iowa.
I was Brudegg. Run, Forrest, run. And my man, in his typical Shane moment, sitting on the dorm room bed, he's like,
Brian Edwards will stop by as well if we ever make it.
that
to,
would be you,
we
Shane.
make it to 10 this morning.
Chance, it's okay. It's okay.
Chance, what you've walked into is like a continuation of yesterday, but now we're doing it on the air.
Oh, it's a recurring theme the last 2 days.
The three of us had a little party in here yesterday. Yeah.
Oh, we're all right.
Yeah, we're gonna have a party for the next 2 days with our good man.
Hey, are you guys playing today?
Who's we?
The Cubs.
No.
Are you okay? All right.
We
start the
start
weekends
with
yeah.
the Red Sox.
Okay.
Yes. Won last night. Thank you for asking.
No, I know. It's a good win.
Yeah, it's good. Wilson
good win.
Contreras got a 600th RBI or 600th base hit as a Cub.
Dude, do you know the Braves have 21 wins in June?
Yep.
Seems like a lot.
And Matt Olson has 30 doubles.
Dude, they're 21-5
And
with
they are-
no Rosario, no Acuna, and no Albies.
So they go 21-5 month of
Like,
June,
for real.
and the Mets scuttle in June where they don't score many runs.
Would they cut it to 4 or 3 or
Mhm.
something like that?
Yeah, the Braves keep winning, and the Mets can't score. They're 13-12, and I think in 10 of those 12 losses, they've scored 2 runs or less. Scherzer pitches his rehab yesterday. Is supposed to be back. You don't know what's going to happen with DeGrom. Yeah, the Braves.
That must have been some dog.
Hmm?
What's he got? A Presa Canario or Rot?
I'm not sure. I'm not on the dogs.
I'm gonna Google
dog
Max
cake.
Scherzer's dog. Because that bite must have been significant.
That is the lineup for today.
I forgot it already.
Coming up after 7. Yesterday was an interesting day for our friends up in Gopherland with former disgruntled players.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about that. I got a lot of thoughts.
Well, we're going to talk about that because
Did I do that?
it was just it seemed like it was, I don't know, unnecessary drama or nothing new. Maybe nothing new. That's my impression.
Yeah, I don't know how much different that is at a lot of programs.
Exactly.
Well,
Thank
I mean,
you.
I do have some thoughts. I mean, we'll see.
I think there's a lot of coaches that, you know what, in front of the camera, away from the camera, in front of their team, away from their team, they're the same person. Can either be a good or a bad thing.
I'm looking
but
at
a
Max
former
Scherzer's
teammate got on
dogs.
social media and went after PJ Fleck yesterday, and then some other people chimed in.
Everybody did.
A lot of drama, but I wasn't like, oh my gosh.
I know one thing. I would be very reluctant to pile on.
Oh yeah, you. The really the only fan base that can pile on in the West Division is Iowa, because They have beaten Minnesota 5 straight times. Wisconsin, Nebraska can't. Minnesota's beating Wisconsin. They're beating Nebraska.
And Iowa has had their own issues with their coach.
Exactly. And some might say the stuff that was mentioned on social media by a disgruntled former player yesterday is not on the level of what happened at Iowa. I'm with you. We're going to talk about this after 7 because there's parts of that of the coaching profession and being in the spotlight and how you feel about them and then how you feel about them if they are winning. All right, that's coming up after 7. Good lineup for you. You're always welcome to join the conversation at any time on the opening day of NBA free agency, 951-1620. You can also discuss, because I think we will, Nathan's hot dog eating contest is coming up this weekend.
Why?
What? What do you mean, why? This is America.
Well, because
red,
if you
white,
say
and blue,
that,
Joey
Chance is
Chestnut.
looking at you with all your weird innuendos this morning. Chance, Gary F. Sharp has a thing for the guy that wears the little hat and kind of runs the whole deal. Like, that's his guy. We had him on the show once. Shane nailed him, nailed it down. And Sharp wants to be that guy.
I'd like to be George Shea.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, did you ever have we ever had the opportunity to talk to Chestnut on these
No.
airwaves?
No, we've had George on.
Yeah.
We haven't had Joey.
Shane, how did you? But I'm not even going to ask him. Never mind. Take you 5 minutes to walk over to the microphone. I'm good. You probably got to go. To break.
Wonder if George Shea's picture is up at the Wiener House in Sioux City, or Chestnut's picture is up. If you're the king of the Wiener, shouldn't you have your picture up at a place called the Wiener House? Just a question. I ask. I'm just looking for an answer because somebody out there knows, because our listening audience is the smartest, best listening audience of anyone.
Puts a lot of pressure on me when there's 4 eyes looking at me to like corral you, and it's just not happening when you get on a roll.
The guy that's in charge is like standing way in the back of the studio this morning. All right, 6:37.
Good luck putting whatever this was about up on the replay page.
Oh, just like the crossover, just stuff. We had
Chance goes,
hey, we had a segment.
Figure it out.
We had a segment
you should
yesterday.
title it Ladybug Chairs. People would be like, WTH.
That's great sports talk. Shane labeled a segment yesterday junk. Okay. Wow. Hey, thanks for the respect. We put a lot of thought and effort into that segment. You can always email us into the Equitable Bank inbox, Gary or Damon at 1620thezone.com, or on the J-Tech Construction Zone Twitter feed at Gary Sharp 1620 at Damon Benning. Let's get Johnny here before the break because Johnny's been so kind to hold on and listen to our.
I'm going with Johnny as like a
nonsense.
pseudo name.
Okay. Hello, Johnny. Johnny?
Johnny?
That was a Johnny.
Shane. Chance.
Hello?
Oh,
there he
hey.
is.
Hey, there you go, Johnny.
It's Cody, not Johnny.
Oh,
See?
1 second here.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Chance. Shane.
I was so confused. I was like,
Okay.
wait.
I thought he said Johnny. I'm so sorry,
Let's do it
Cody.
for Johnny, man.
Cody, I'm
Hey,
very sorry.
Cody, if you were
Are
tough
ready
like
for
me,
your
you wouldn't
favorite
get hurt.
holiday of the year?
Johnny Cody. Cody Johnny.
Yeah, they don't even.
What
Hey,
a-
and I met Colin, not Owen, Saturday at 7-on-7.
hello, Johnny Cody.
I haven't gave him a hug.
Hey, Gary,
Hey,
Hey, Cody.
Hey, Cody.
are you ready for your favorite holiday of the year?
July 4th?
No, July 1st.
Oh, Bobby Bonilla Day.
Bobby Bonilla Day tomorrow.
Boom! Pay the man his money.
You bet. What that ends at 25, right?
Yes.
Yes.
We are getting close.
Yeah, that's gonna be an ending of an era. I was calling in early, but so I didn't start any drama since people are gonna get all butthurt about it. Did you happen to
Can we
watch
say that on the radio?
Elite 11
We
last
can't,
night?
but Johnny Cody can't.
Why do people's bundas hurt?
Just
It's it's a weird term.
Uh,
Go ahead, Cody. Again, something.
Did you guys happen to watch Elite 11 last night?
Yeah, on IG.
Yeah,
Yeah, went live. You are looking live.
yeah, that was that looks insane. That pro day agility.
Yeah, there's a lot of tough drills.
Yeah, Zane, I think he was tied for second for most for completed passes. That JJ Cole put on a show.
Yeah,
You know
Iowa
what?
State got a steal.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you something, Cody. JJ Cole is a prime example of why you don't judge a book by its cover.
Yeah.
his gait, his build. Like, don't pay attention to any of that. That dude showed me. I didn't even know he had that in him.
No, he's looked good the past 2 days.
Yep.
And then
He's kind of long and knock-kneed. He's good as advertised.
yeah, he really impressed me. And then that Moore kid really, really lit it up last night.
Yeah, I think he's
Yeah.
in everybody's top 5 after the first couple of days, right? Like the
Yeah.
consensus,
He's
no matter
going
which.
to Oregon, right?
Well, I don't know.
Maybe.
Michigan feels pretty good about Dante Moore as well. I mean, he's got what is it? His 4 last night. They were saying Michigan, Notre Dame, Oregon, and A&M, I believe.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Because everyone was chiming in about A&M throwing the money bags at him.
Well, I mean, you know what? He's a kid that you have that kind of talented quarterback that's in Detroit. Harbaugh can't let him get away.
No,
Yeah.
not at all.
No.
And then
Oh, go ahead.
what's that?
No, go ahead, Johnny.
No,
Cody.
I just calling to see if you guys had watched.
You know what I
Yes.
thought
What
you
you
were
guys
going to
said
talk
at
about
Spot.
is Lloyd's dual offer.
I did see that late last. I was scrolling Twitter late last night and saw Texas Tech with the track and football scholarship.
Yeah, the rare combo. He pulls it off.
Johnny Cody, thank
so
you.
how does that work? Would that be? I guess that's a good question for you guys. How does that work? with
Track
college
has
track and
partials,
field?
so football can pick up the rest. I'm sure football would more than share that.
Are indoor and outdoor all under the same umbrella?
For track, yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was wondering if that would still be all under the same umbrella or how that would work.
Yeah.
Yep. Johnny
That's
Cody, thank
one,
you.
one of many, probably.
We will get into that. Jalen Lloyd got an offer from
Johnny Cody.
Texas Tech.
Chance, you're gonna have to explain.
There's
that at
another
some
thing
point.
about the
Johnny
Elite
Cody.
11 day 2 yesterday, and the quarterbacks were there.
Johnny Cody.
So-
Cody.
So Nebraska pursued J.J. Cole.
Yeah, I saw he stood
was on
right
junior
next
day.
to me.
They have pursued Avery Johnson out of the Wichita area. We have talked about it. I don't know if people realize what's happening, but Chris Kleiman is recruiting like a madman in Manhattan.
So we have a lot of
Because
people.
I think Avery Johnson's going to end up at K-State.
We have a lot of people that aren't mature enough to handle, like, if you say something good about another coach. But I told you off air a couple weeks ago, K-State's they're good at what they do in terms of recruiting, and he's won. So I don't think that's any secret, right?
They have had a heck of a summer
Yeah,
in Manhattan.
they're good at what they do.
Yep. All right, 6:43 coming up after 7. We'll get into the PJ Fleck stuff that came out yesterday. Also, we are 10 weeks away from the NFL season. 58 days away from Nebraska playing. We are 10 weeks away from today, the NFL, one of the most anticipated NFL seasons ever. Maybe the most excited that everybody has been for the NFL kicks off 10 weeks from today. We're back in a bit. A lot of people in the studio today. We got Chance, we got Shane, there's Damon. I'm Gary. Sharp Betting in the Morning on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back in. Sharp and Betting in the morning. Chance, Shane, Damon, Gary. You have time to get in your questions for Ask Us Anything for a chance to win a great gift card to Oscar's
So,
Pizza
it's a
and
lot
Grill.
going on.
Yeah, there is a lot of moving parts. A lot of
Shane-
stuff going on with the
Shane
show.
over there standing like the Gestapo or somebody, arms, he's like looking over Chance's shoulder. I'd be like, boy, go sit down somewhere.
I wonder why Shane keeps looking at his watch.
Because he's feeling big time.
Okay.
King Lear over there.
Yeah, he is. He
King
is.
King Richard.
Here is Random Mike on Sharp and Betting in the morning. Hello, Mike.
I got to compliment you guys. That combination yesterday of Dirk and Sean McDonough was about as good as it gets.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Listen, Damon, was Briscoe a friend of the family?
Oh yeah, he's a neighbor. Lived right across the street from my parents.
Now, were you aware of that special trip he made to Denver because he found out that they were meeting with other quarterbacks and he wasn't getting?
Yeah, he went through his. You know, my favorite thing about him is his emotional perseverance. Because psychologically, it would have been easy for him to tank. Now he had some other coping mechanisms, but Mike, he came out of the back end. Mentally, he's about as tough as they come.
Yeah, but that's just heartbreaking.
Oh,
because who knows what could have happened, and to not have the decency to at least talk to him beforehand and let him know what his situation.
Yeah, the epitome of undermined.
Yeah, and like Dirk said, who knows what could have happened?
Yeah.
Is there video about his performances at was it Omaha University at the time?
So on that committee, we had their former athletic director, they were looking for and probably found reels. They have
Gary Anderson.
Gary Anderson has reels of some of those performances from Omaha, but we couldn't get them digitized in time.
Because you'd love to watch it. And what they showed, what he was doing at Denver, I mean, he was for real.
Yeah,
And
Dirk tweeted out a clip, Random Mike, that was only 5 games in Denver, and it was like 6 minutes worth of highlights.
Yeah, it's just an unbelievable story. And then with McDonough, I mean, what a class act. There's a guy he's really good, and he just seems like a really good guy.
Yes, in a business where sometimes you don't find like true people that they're exactly who they are on the air. Yeah, Sean's about as good as it gets.
Yeah, and talking about Mr. Whipple there, you gotta understand, I'm a Charmin ultra strong guy, so I have a special feeling for Mr. Whipple.
That's an old school commercial. Well played.
And what he said about Whipple was encouraging.
Yeah.
That's obviously a key guy in how this is going to go. But he called him Frosty, and you know who that made me think of? Here's random.
Anderson.
Verduzco.
Oh.
Hey.
Didn't he call him Frosty?
Yeah, he did.
And when Verduzco came, we were told, and if you look at how the quarterback did at Central Florida, we were told this is the best quarterback coach on the planet.
Yeah, that was a mistake.
Hey,
Mag, thanks for the call.
How about our inbox yesterday after John said what he said about communication, and everybody crushed Coach Verduzco. Didn't even say anything about Coach. They're like, man, this guy's quarterback coach is something else. Wow. I had to go ahead and not open a few of those.
By the way, points for you bringing up former wide receiver Frosty Anderson.
That's what I thought he was going to say.
I first got to know him as an advertising exec in Lincoln.
Yeah, Mike's super eclectic, so I figured that's for sure what he was going with. I mean, he wove in a Charmin reference.
Well, part of the Whipple discussion is focused, and rightfully so, on the offense, and it's his offense, and it's his office, and he gets to determine who gets to come in and chime in on the offense. We probably haven't gone the next step in full of his impact as just the quarterback coach. You know, we got a question on Twitter late last night. Who's the best offensive coordinator for Nebraska in the last 25 years?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna go the out, because if we go back 25 years, T.O. was still coaching in 97, so he's the best offensive coordinator in the last 25 years. But look at quarterback coaches at Nebraska, beginning with Turner Gill 25 years ago to now. I mean, Mario Verduzco, good guy, funny to talk to, not a not in this situation, Power 5 quarterback coach.
Mhm.
And I also but it's not all on him. You also take direction from the head coach who is intimately familiar with the quarterback play and what he wants out of the quarterback. So it's not all on Verduzco, but I don't think he was not suited to be the main guy running a quarterback room at Nebraska.
So here's the thing, right? Because I think, let's be honest, at least this is for me. I can't really speak for you, but I know at some point I said, hey, such and such looks pretty competitive out there. Probably should give some credit to Verduzco, right? Remember McCaffrey's first couple of stints, and you're like, well, that's not that bad. Or finding Martinez as a talent and getting him ready as a freshman. Like, I remember saying, well, that's okay. That's pretty good. Right now, I was never in the camp of play McCaffrey at quarterback, and I was accused of having a Martinez love fest, which may or may not be true. But there were some times where things would happen with those quarterbacks. Now, I never liked the warm-up drills and stuff like that. But that wasn't for me to really, that's just personal opinion, right? It doesn't make me right. So, but the other stuff, I felt like there were some times where the performance, it lent itself to a little credibility, if we're being honest, right? I mean, there were times where in the last 4, so I just don't want to, just take a dump all over the whole thing. It's the recruiting thing that I think was the biggest stickler, because if he would have been a good recruiter or even recruited, I think they may have been a little more patient. But when you're not getting anything in terms of the results, you're in, as you would say,
gots to go situation.
Yes, sir. And that's what happened.
So to figure out the impact of Whipple as a quarterback coach, I'm not going to look at Casey Thompson, because I think Casey Thompson at this stage of his career is pretty set. Now, there's going to be little things.
What was he last? Was he 24-7, 24 and what was his touchdowns to interceptions ratio? I try not to fall in love with that, but I know it's 24 and something, 24 and 11. This is my show prep, Mike Boker. Thank you. Didn't know we were going to get into this. My Rolodex is a little full.
24-9.
24-9. Okay, 24-7 was close.
But at this point in his career, he has thrown 300 passes in college football. He's kind of set in his ways. I think if we're looking at development,
I don't know. Do you look at 62-6 and think?
Yeah, but I'm not looking for like the guy that I saw play in the Red River Shootout. I'm not looking at some guy drastically different.
Okay.
There's going to be little things where you're going to focus on to determine the impact of a Whipple is he's got kind of he's got really an unknown in Purdy who he can work with. That's Clay. Harburg is another guy.
Did you ever used to listen to Jars of Clay?
Yes. Harburg is another guy on the development thing. And then Torres as well. Torres, he's got to be more than a big boy arm.
Well, he's got to be healthy.
Yes. Which it does sound like he is on that path. But who gets
that's a Home Sweet Home reference.
I'm on my way. Who does Smothers fall under?
Home Sweet Home.
I mean,
Tonight's the night.
Does Whipple have an impact on Smothers, or is Smothers already a finished product?
I think he could have an impact, especially in the mechanics and accuracy. Remember the one, everybody's like, what are they doing? He can't play. And I was like, he's better than that. Like, that just wasn't a great day. Not the best conditions either. And ridiculous drills. Right? Remember that day?
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think he can.
Well, I think you can make a case that the quarterback position in Nebraska has been simplified.
I think all those guys can get better. Why can't they? And it doesn't have to be, monumental or market, depending on where you are in your developmental stage. But some of those younger guys, for sure.
Like I said, it starts with Purdy. The naked eye probably won't recognize different things that Casey Thompson is doing compared to last year. But the naked eye, if you watched enough of the little film that's available on Purdy, and in the spring game, you go, that would be recognizable right away. All right, 6:59. Coming up, we're going to discuss the day for PJ Fleck. An interesting year for Minnesota. Minnesota may show up on some people's ballots as the favored in the West.
I could see it.
Very much so, if you consider what they have coming back. And
Got some clarification on the offer from Texas Tech, because I know you want to get into that too with Jalen Lloyd.
Yeah, it was a good day for it was a good day for Nebraska high school football products yesterday in Omaha.
No, wait, you
Imagine
can't.
that.
Be careful.
Can I just slip this in real quick?
Hey, your name's in the show.
Zane Flores gets bigger.
Stop.
His back shoulder throws last night. He loves that deep ball. I'm just saying he gets a little bit bigger because his body's still growing. Okay, I'll get off that before we get besieged by angry people, mobs that are standing at 50th and Capitol.
That's the vocal minority. Nobody with some sense gets upset over folks getting their just due.
We'll take people that have sense to come to the studio, 50th and Capitol. Sharp betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone.
Looking for a one-stop shop? Well, how about Woodhouse? If you can't get out to one of the 16 metro locations, how about woodhouse.com? They make it easy to shop for your next car, truck, or SUV. Whether you're in the market for new or new to you, Woodhouse, it's so efficient. I'm in the middle of the process now. Not quite to panic mode, but let's just say I'm pretty intense. Woodhouse offers 18 brands across 16 metro locations if you're looking for new. If you're looking for new to you, feel free to explore hundreds of pre-owned vehicles that you can find online at woodhouse.com. The features don't just stop there. I can calculate payment options, do a credit application. You can do trade value. Save time and be efficient with woodhouse.com. When you serviced the area since 1975, you become a trusted partner. And that's exactly what Woodhouse is. If you're looking for a one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, visit woodhouse.com.
All right, so 2 coaches off of last year's staff don't appear to be coaching. Maybe they have retired, Matt Lubick and Mario Verduzco. But now the quarterback room in 22, I think we could openly say and agree and have a good discussion. There are options.
Mm-hmm.
You feel better about the options that are in the quarterback room in 22, maybe compared to the last couple of years, because there weren't as many bodies. I mean, we go 5 deep with scholarship quarterbacks right now. 2 of them are brand new, and 2 of them have been here, and the other one just got here. Well, there's a little bit more to the quarterback room and the coaching of quarterbacks that's off the call by Mike. But you were mentioning, so yesterday was kind of a big day for Jalen Lloyd, who was named the male track and field athlete of the year, rightfully so. It would have been a major upset if he wasn't, considering the kind of year that he has had. And his mom, who might be a better track and field athlete than son, was dominant in the state of Kansas. Cool day. As Jalen is now going to spend his senior year at Omaha West Side playing football and running track.
And he had a big day against Benson yesterday in 7-on-7.
But he also got his first Power 5 offer, a combo track and field football. Texas Tech came through.
So it's a full football offer, and he will be allowed to run track. Texas Tech has a few guys from Baylor, and that was the practice that they were known for. They just had a linebacker commit that is a sub-14 hurdler from the Carolinas. Right.
Go Dave Aranda.
Right. So full football offer with the ability to run track. So how about that?
It's a great option to have.
So here's my favorite thing about him. You ready? You'd never know. He doesn't say much. Super subtle smile. He just goes about his business. He easy kid to cheer for. And look at all the people that like and retweet what he tweets. Doesn't matter what school they're from. Doesn't matter if it's his old school, new school, unaffiliated school. Dakari Davis, I mean, they've got a great relationship anyway. Had the great tweet, who I think is one of the more underappreciated basketball players in the Metro. Like, he's just that kid. Like, you spend time with him, you want him in your program.
Right. He's going to be a fun one to watch through the fall and then all the way through the spring. There are going to be more moments than he's had this past year.
Yeah. And Anthony Rizak somewhere smiling
at Westside Academy.
Somebody said that.
Yeah, we had a caller.
Yeah, who was that?
It was John. I was going to say who his son was, but
his
dad.
The Academy.
John.
Yeah.
All right, 7:08 coming up at 8. SBH joins us. Sarah Baker Hansen, Steve Sipple stops by. Brian Edwards, Ask Us Anything. When we come back, yesterday was an interesting day on social media for Row the Boaters, but how big of a deal was it when PJ Fleck was being dragged through Twitter by a disgruntled former player? There's a lot more that I think coaches around the country probably were following and going,
yeah, not a fan. Not a fan of that.
Sharp and Betting in the morning at 1620 The Zone.
1620 The Zone app. Here are Gary Sharp and Damon Benning.
Swinging a deep fly ball out to right field. This one's deep. This one's back. This one is off the second deck in right center. Brian Reynolds is homered for a second time today. His 14th of the year, and the Pirates have one back. It's 6-5.
Hit another home run, Brian
Man,
Reynolds.
couldn't get his third.
Yeah, well, he had
Come on,
3 home
Chance.
runs, 6 RBIs. Pittsburgh beat Washington yesterday. Kansas City won yesterday. They're now 20 games below 500. Zach Greinke, who is unique, I guess would be the best way to describe it.
Yeah.
Started
2-1
his
final. That was a barn burner.
Started his 500th game, only gave up a run yesterday against the Rangers at the K.
Who played a game yesterday in 247?
That seems long.
247?
Yeah. Pitch clock will be here next year. 247.
Oh, it was Atlanta and Philly. Six of Philly's last 7 outs were via the strikeout.
Ouch. Welcome back. Baseball is still baseball.
I was like, what is going? Wright was kind of dealing. If he's good for them in the second half too, I'd color me concerned again about the Braves.
They trudged through the first 50. They had a team meeting, and they've taken off since then.
Yeah. 21 wins in June.
Yep. And they are closing in on the Mets. We need the Mets to continue to lose for
Mine too. Are you on the Mets under too?
I'm on the under. I'm on the under for the Mets. The under.
I am too.
Sharp betting in the morning. Welcome back in. Yesterday, in the age of social media, Damon.
I don't know anything about social media.
Players and former players, everybody seems to have bigger voices.
Play on, player.
There is the good and the bad of that. Well, yesterday, a player named Val Martin in Minnesota, who transferred to North Carolina State, dropped a bunch of blank on PJ Fleck. Now, there is no denying that PJ Fleck in 5 years at Minnesota is 35-23. He's on about a 7-year run outside of the COVID impacted year in 20, where Minnesota has PJ Fleck's been on an ascension. Throw in Western Michigan and now at Minnesota. They lost at home last year to Bowling Green and Illinois and still found a way to win 9 games, beat Wisconsin, and won a bowl game. So the record is what it is. So he has had more success in Minnesota in recent history than some other players. But according to this former player on social media, Val Martin, he threatened to pull Val Martin's scholarship if he retaliated for some stuff that was going on. So Val Martin went on social media yesterday and ripped PJ Fleck and asked other players to chime in. And they shared some stories. And as I was following along, I don't think this is a story that you go, oh, there's a lot of drama involved. But of stuff that was said, I was like, I'm not really like surprised or, oh my gosh, this is fireable or he's a tool or PJ Fleck is everything that PJ Fleck is that we have known from day number one. And that's his personality. I think it's the same personality in front of the camera as away from the camera, in front of the team, away from the team. He's 35-23 in 5 years. Okay? 35-23 in 5 years. Our coaches do things that you don't always agree with? Certainly. I mean, do coaches probably fear that some of the stuff that they pull behind closed doors or in the intimacy of a locker room or a team setting gets out? I'm sure every coach does. Even the most successful coaches do. But yesterday was not like, hey, are you guys going to talk about this? This is, man, I think PJ might be gone. No, he's not going to be gone.
No, I'm not. Listen, I don't know enough to defend him, so I'm not going to do that. And I don't know enough to pile on, so I'm not going to do that either. I do know that there's a thing called there's general consensus, and then there's a few, right? It's no different than with us or anybody else. You're going to have pockets of people that really, really enjoy what's going on, and you're going to have pockets of people that don't. And so that's just the nature of it. What I don't like, though, is I think there's a better way to speak generally about what ails a program or a relationship or something like that than to outwardly try to defame or demean. Like, I'm not a big fan of that. Right? At some point, and it's not even so much taking the high road. I think you can get your point across if it's a valid enough one without having to do that. Because I don't think, like, what good comes out of it? I guess what's I would just have to ask, like, what's the desired outcome?
This seems more like a Val Martin problem than a PJ Fleck problem. He's very polarizing, and he's not for everybody. And he's probably not for everybody that plays a year in his program and realizes that Minnesota's not the right place for me. But all I know is that there are times where Minnesota football could have caved, especially this past year, and they didn't. So there's got to be culture that somehow keeps people together, and there's some player love for him. Now, again, he's not for everybody. Jay Foreman tells the story the first time he met PJ Fleck and the whole elite comment.
Not his due.
But that's who he is.
Yeah.
You know with him, he's the most polarizing coach maybe in the entire Big Ten. But you know exactly what you're getting. Okay? You see what he does, and you know that is what you are getting. Now, if I am a Minnesota football fan and I have not had a ton of success, heck yeah, I would take 35-23. And along the road, I have beat Nebraska on an annual basis. I have found a way to beat Wisconsin. The only thing I haven't been able to do is beat Iowa, where you've lost to Iowa 5 straight years. I mean, whatever happens in Lincoln with Scott Frost and his tenure and his record, and he may go on to win someday a Big Ten championship, he will always have on his resume the worst loss ever in the history of Scott Frost as a head coach in 2020, when a COVID-ridden Minnesota team, a day after a blizzard in this part of the state, walked into Memorial Stadium with Tom, Dick, and Harry playing and 25 other guys and beat Nebraska.
Well,
I mean, in my opinion, that's the worst loss of the 4 years. But that also, if I'm looking at Minnesota and trying to gauge the health of a program, guys would have been easy to say, I'm good. I'm good. Coming to an end. We made it through this COVID season. We've been disrupted. Yeah. I came to Lincoln and looked like they were all in the same boat together.
So I think a lot of coaches, regardless of the sport, right? It could be, you could go local here with basketball and take a look at some of the winning programs. Woodard, Lutke, Barons, right? There's gonna be some stories where folks are like, man, I didn't have a very good experience. You take local football, same thing. Local baseball, right? Coaches coach pretty hard. There's gonna be some of those stories. The collegiate level, there's a wide range of feelings from different coaches that former players have had, and we were winning. Like, not everybody's going to have the same opinion on Coach Osborne or Coach Brown or Coach Solich, for that matter. Like, I probably feel vastly different about Coach Solich than D'Angelo Evans. Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, or Marvin Sims or somebody like that.
Yep.
So it's like, I don't know. I don't like the fact that, because it's not always somebody else's fault. So occasionally it is, but those guys in those situations, like, they know that. They know that.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're going to do that, then just say, like, hey, I probably could have done this differently. Or maybe I didn't receive that well, and this is what happened, as opposed to but. There's a huge, huge difference in telling stories between and but. Hey, I know I was supposed to go to the grocery store, but when you called me, it did such and such, such and such. Oh man, you still were supposed to go. Or as opposed to me saying, hey, I know I was supposed to go to the grocery store, and when you called me, I was thinking about this, and that. Like, it lands differently.
Mm-hmm.
So I just don't think people want to get in the habit of like globbing on to taking sides and pawning stuff off as fact, because everybody has got a story to tell.
Yeah. Didn't it seem as this unfolded yesterday on social media, and we've seen this happen before. Minnesota is not the first program that's happened to. There was a shift of, it wasn't necessarily, oh man, I'm with you, player. It was, okay. Yeah, this seems kind of out there, but what's your end goal here? I got a football coach that's 35-23 in his 5th year, and we're winning football games. And I know that we have turnover, and we have guys that get into the portal, but we also grab guys that get into that come out of the portal. There's got to be something right if my coach is 12 games over 500 in 5 years. Okay, he isn't faking through season after season, and he's polarizing. That's what when you hire a guy like PJ Fleck, you know exactly what you're getting, and whatever he does in his personal life, that's on him. Okay, he'll have to answer for that someday, and probably for him, you hope it doesn't get in the way of his professional life. But that's his. I mean, there are reasons why coaches. There are reasons why coaches like to be private, away from the facility.
Yeah, it's like, if a coach, like, I just don't. Some of that stuff, man, I just cringe reading, because there's unintended consequences for other people that are involved when you do that to people. And it's like I always say, man, hurt people. That was a little much. I'm sure it was great theater for some, but I mean, you have to be careful when your house could be a little fragile, right? There's very few programs and fan bases of programs that could look at that and say, hey, man, I'm here on my soapbox. Yeah, look what he said. Like, don't do it, because it's probably not going to turn out well. I mean, it's just not. TJ Hawkinson feels a lot different about Coach Ferentz than, let's say, Noah Fant.
Great example.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Who's right? Right? Wan'Dale Robinson has a vastly different opinion of Coach Frost than Gabe Ervin. Who's right? I mean, it is what it is. It truly, in this case, it is what it is. Right now, you start to get a multitude of guys that say the same thing.
That's what you call trending.
Then you're in a situation where, better take a look at this. Because then you're in a pattern of negligent behavior across the gamut, as opposed to isolated situations. Because how isolated would something have to be? Is there a magic number if you have 140 players in your program that make it not isolated? Because 10 seems like a lot, right? 10 out of 140. Like if 10 players said something, that seems like a lot. 10 out of 140 does not seem like very many. So, like, is there a magic number where you're like, oh man, this is on my radar now? And is it starters versus non-starters? Are there any like, what would the the overlapping chart look like?
You added a line that I think does, if it occurs that it's a frontline starter that speaks up, then you start to go, okay, they don't really have an axe to grind because they're playing and they have an integral part on the team, compared to somebody that maybe is lower down on the depth chart and has an axe to grind.
Yeah, I mean, that's always the thing, right? If a coach is winning and there's a disgruntled player, it's the player's fault. If the coach isn't winning and there's a disgruntled player, then the roles get reversed. I don't know enough. I don't need to hear about like his personal, some of that stuff. I don't need to hear about. It's not my business. It's not their business. I mean, a lot of that stuff I didn't like. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I mean, not everybody's gonna be just.
Put yourself in the shoes of the Minnesota fan that, and we hear from them. Not everybody has fully I mean, he's 5 years in. Again, beaten your rival, hasn't beaten Iowa, but has also beaten Nebraska, and has got you to bowl games, and you've won bowl games. I mean, you won 11 games 2019. You won 9 games last year when you really probably had no business winning 9. I mean, you lost to Bowling Green in Illinois at home, but rallied to win 9, which included a bowl game win over West Virginia. 5 years, 35 wins, not all in, because look at how a torn Minnesota fan might be. Their opening game this year is New Mexico State. You know who coaches New Mexico State now? Jerry Kill, who this is privately, you'll have coach-on-coach crime, but he has been publicly coach-on-coach crime against Fleck, and they meet on the opening game of the season. Minnesota's first 5 games this year, they have New Mexico State, Western Illinois, Colorado at home. Remember, they went out to Boulder and won last year. Then they go to Michigan State week 4, and then they come home and play Purdue. That's their first 5 games.
Yeah.
Hey, there is no doubt that he is polarizing, but I've got a 7-year run here where the man can coach football.
Yeah. I mean, you've heard some stories, right? I mean, Black tells the story, at Michigan, how, PJ put him on the clock for a decision. And I think sometimes people look at that as, and again, I can't defend or validate, but like the way the story goes from Black, it's, man, I only had a certain amount of time. It's longer than that. That's not going to work for me. Man, I'm out. Fleck may say, and I can't make it up on the fly because I'm not for sure, but maybe Fleck was like, hey, listen, when I get back, 3-day weekend or whatever, let's have some finality to this so I don't have to drag this out anymore from a position standpoint because I may want to do this, this, and this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, who's right?
He also appears the way
who's right?
Yeah, exactly. He also appears to be, we hear the recruiting stories because he would love to get a Nebraska kid on his roster, especially an Omaha kid. We know how aggressive he was with Xavier Betts. I mean, he blew up his phone.
I don't know if I know you keep saying that. I don't know if there's a particular thing though. You know what I mean?
He is aggressive towards kids in Nebraska. And here's the thing that maybe this isn't, you have to help me here because you're in the middle of this process. So this is one of the things I've heard from a couple of different people that have been recruited by Fleck, and including one person who committed to Minnesota, is at the beginning of your recruitment and leading up to a decision, either a yay or a nay, there's a lot of Fleck. I mean, the head coach is the chief guy. And he's bam, bam, bam. How you doing? How you doing? What can we do for you? Hey, we're going to be here to see you. Good luck in your basketball game. It's an onslaught of the head coach. And then once you say yes, he hands you off to your position coach. And you're going to have now more contact with your position coach than the head coach. That's the way he runs his recruiting. And for some people, that's like, whoa, okay. We were going nonstop. Now, yeah, I like my position coach, but hello, head coach? That's not for everybody.
Yeah, we're way early in the process, but early it's been position coach for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't have any problems. Like at first blush when I'm listening to it, I don't really have that big of a problem with that format, right? Because that's the person that you're going to be spending the most amount of time with. Like right now, it's much more important for Coach Fisher or Coach Joseph to establish the relationship than with Coach Frost. In my opinion. I don't know what he would say.
Yeah.
But I mean, you could easily ask him. But as I look at it, Coach Frost did something interesting in one of the practices this offseason. He said one of the things that he's enjoying is getting to know the players that he wouldn't ordinarily have time to spend time with. So, I mean, maybe that's a thing.
Are we talking recruits or on his current roster?
His current roster. Because it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, your position coach and your strength and conditioning coach spend way more time with you than the head coach. He just doesn't have the time.
Mm-hmm.
I knew Coach Solich way better than I knew Coach Osborne. But some of that was my own immaturity, kind of that fear factor, like, oh man, I don't want to talk to this guy. Like this,
Mm-hmm.
you know what I mean? But I think that's normal. Like, I don't know what my guys would say, but I think that sounds normal to me. I mean, Coach Taylor probably felt like he was closer to Coach Taylor. Aaron would probably tell you he's closer to Milt and Dan than Coach Osborne. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I think that's probably the case. If you have a really good position coach that invests in you and gets a return on their investment, I imagine that's pretty much the case. Unless your head coach is your position coach. Like you're a quarterback. Like, Tommy's relationship. That would be a good question for him. Where was your relationship stronger? With Coach Osborne or Coach Gill?
Oh, I don't want to speak for him. That's a good one because they both were kind of hand in hand, because they were always together, like with those quarterbacks. Yeah. I would guess. I'll guess Coach Gill. I'm going to ask you.
But see, now bring this back to Nebraska.
I'm going to guess.
Is
you got to guess?
I'm going to say Coach Osborne.
Okay.
But if we asked Adrian, who did you feel you were closer to, your position coach or your head coach?
He'd definitely say his position coach. Guarantee.
But shouldn't that be the other way around for a starting quarterback?
Well, there's a lot in that.
Yes,
right?
but let's go
know.
general here. Let's go general.
Okay. What's the question?
The quarterback relationship should be stronger, or maybe just a shade stronger, with your head coach over your position coach.
Probably inclined to agree. Only because of the role that this particular head coach played on his football team. I mean, he was the offensive mind. That was his side of the ball.
Yeah.
It's not like that for everybody now.
No?
I would imagine Coach Day has a pretty good relationship. I would imagine Coach Saban has a pretty good relationship. I don't know. Kirby Smart, do he and Bennett go grab wings? I don't know.
That's interesting for coaches. Like you bring up Saban. Saban works with the defensive backs. Now, he's around the quarterback, but would Tua say that his relationship was stronger with, Lane than it was with Saban?
Yeah. It's tricky.
And there's we told the story. I've told the story about Nebraska baseball with Van Horn. Players will say they had a stronger relationship with other members of the staff and not their head coach. And then when you're out of the program, you realize the impact of the head coach. I imagine that's the same. But that it didn't, the drama that was created on social media yesterday, I didn't go, oh boy, they're in trouble in Minnesota. I just went, the guy's won 35 football games. He's got to be doing something right. You may not like his approach, and he may be by far the most polarizing guy that coaches football in the Big Ten. But right now he's winning. Right now he is winning football games. And for Nebraska, he is beating Nebraska. And he's probably beating Nebraska at things that you like, man, I'd love to have that. I wish we had that. All right, 7:39. Coming up in the next hour, Sarah Baker Hansen will join us. Also, Stephen M. Sipple will stop by on this Thursday edition, the last day of June of Sharp and Betting in the Morning on 1620 The Zone. Hey, looking for a new or new to you vehicle, car, truck, or SUV? I'm sending you to one place, woodhouse.com. That's a website. Yeah, you're thinking, why don't you send me to 119th and I or somewhere of the 16 metro locations? Well, I'm going to make it easy on you because that's what Woodhouse wants to do. They are going to help you save time on your next search for your next vehicle. All you got to do is go to woodhouse.com. There are 18 brands across those 16 locations are all at right place. Woodhouse.com. Most popular truck brands to the luxury vehicles, all found on one website. All the inventory that they have is right there at a click of a mouse. Plus, in transit inventory, the trades updated immediately. And the features at woodhouse.com, they'll make you ahead of the game. You can apply for credit, value your trade. Again, check all the inventory. They make it easy on you. That's what they've been doing since 1975. So, you're in the market for that car, truck, or SUV, new or new to you. You can find all of the inventory, every vehicle from every one of their lots, easily accessible online at woodhouse.com. All right, because we have access, we ask a question. The GOAT responds.
He said the GOAT. T. Phrase, are you the GOAT? I don't know. Just trying to get some stuff done.
The question was, are you closer to, as a quarterback, your position coach or your head coach? You kind of thought it would be Turner.
I was guessing.
I thought maybe T.O. and T. Frazier has responded.
Yep, and he said Coach Gill,
who, because of the kind of man that Coach Gill is, probably could reach and have more time with Tommy on that level.
Yeah, that one was a tough one because Coach Osborne is so hands-on with the QBs.
So
that was just a gut thing. Like, I was more than willing to be wrong.
So let me. I never asked this. I'm just curious now. Normal practice. T.O. ever come to the other side of the ball and stand?
Yes.
On a regular basis?
No, he would go with the defense. He would go to the defense.
I mean, I've heard the stories of, like, in the meeting rooms, he would, stop in.
And he would tell you, I'm pretty sure he would tell you that he had to get better there with just giving okay, here, this is your deal. And I think the defensive guys had seen some of those interactions.
Yeah.
They'd make suggestions. Coach McBride would have ideas. Whose defense is it? That kind of thing. And that's just part of it. I think that's healthy.
Yes.
I just think that's healthy dialogue. Eric Cartman for president says, wouldn't that be something? Some people feel like that's what we have now. Starting quarterback is like the top. No, I said some people.
Oh, okay.
It's not political commentary. By the way, what is hearsay? I can't even help myself. Never mind. Starting quarterback is like the top salesperson in a company. Relationship with the owner is critical. Co-leader, you are the face of the organization in front of customers. It's imperative to be on the same page. QBHC, no different, and the team cannot see weakness in that relationship.
Good email. A good tweet.
Now this one. Let's operate under that assumption.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say Cartman for president. That was the smartest thing I've ever read. I will be curious to watch the relationship with Coach Frost and Coach Whipple with the quarterbacks, because only one of them was originally with Coach Frost. The other two are new, and some of that offense had to be meshed. So you may not feel like you're as much of the concrete pourer.
Yep.
Like, that would be, I don't know if hard is the word, but that would be interesting if, in fact, you're operating under the fact that Eric Cartman for president is correct.
Hey, Scott, do you know Casey and Chubba?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's he like? How much time we had?
I know.
Between the implementation and, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you better be taking, what are you doing? Like, taking them and the three kiddos and the wifey to out to eat?
So part of that tweet as well is people, I think, are seeing it in the infancy, is Frost and Whipple have to publicly have a good relationship. That can't be butting of heads publicly.
Yeah, I agree. But that's why I said in the spring, remember when Coach Whipple was like, yeah, such and such is our guy. And I was half joking, and I go, I said, maybe he didn't get the memo that you're not supposed to say those things that early. Or is it that he has such autonomy that he can say that and they'll figure it out later? But then I got my answer a couple of days later.
You did?
When Coach Frost was non-committal about who the guy was and said that publicly. So then I was like, okay, all right, you guys, get back behind closed doors, and you can only disseminate a little information at a time, because with the coverage of our media, you guys got to really be on the same page. And that was so new and so fresh. They had never been through something like that together. I'm sure Coach Whipple was like, why are there these 50 people here with these microphones, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he had to be.
Yes.
people can tell you about that until it actually happens. So then they progressively got better. That's just part of learning the relationship. You know what I mean?
Bo tweets at the show.
Bo Happer?
Not Bo Happer. This is Bo, B-O-W. Says, I don't care about the flex stuff. He's beat our, using your word, bunda. So he has scoreboard.
We just say bunda in our house.
He has scoreboard on Nebraska. But I'm curious, and this relates to all coaches in state, basketball and football primarily, how much of a coach's life off the field is private? How private is private? Thanks. Love the show.
Okay, ask me the tail end of that again.
How private is private for coaches? Because this offseason, again, I don't believe that Scott has talked to the media as a whole since the spring game, which was April 9th.
Mm-hmm.
Now, him and his wife, they are awaiting the birth of their third child here. It's coming up shortly, right? Like, here pretty quick. He's had a very quiet offseason. Like the private life, which he desperately would like, but tough in a place of 300,000 when you are the football coach at Nebraska. He, desperately would like the private part. I think what Bo is getting at is on the Fleck thing, how much should people care about a coach's private life? I say, hey, that's their life.
I'm actually thinking.
That's their life until it intersects and it impacts their professional life.
I'm probably closer to that because I'm probably that's I like that because I think it goes back to that authentic thing. Just be authentic, like whoever you are. I remember I coached with a guy who said we were talking about another coach. I happen to like him. I don't think he did. And he said, you can't be two different people.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, again, I wasn't probably mature enough to be like, yeah, he's probably right. Because I felt like it was like a player. Hey, once you hit the white lines, like you can hit the light switch, right? So I was probably like, yeah, you can. But the more I think about it, I don't think you can. Because players now they see and feel so much, right? And I think being authentic is everyone's best bet, whatever it is. If you're a turd and you can't help but to be a turd, man, turd your brains out.
Yeah, be a turd in front of the camera.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's just easier that way. And conversely, if it's to the good, then be to the good. Didn't you, at any point over the last 2 days, did you not go back to the conversation we had with Carter Kaufman? It's all I could think of. He was so honest. So was Tyler Johnson, and so was Ibrahim. When he was like, man, the first 6 months, I couldn't stand this guy. He was this, all these cliches.
Yep.
It was this, it was that. He says, but I'm be honest. Over time, we figured out that's just who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And when they all started repeating the same message, I look dead at you and I go, uh-oh, they may be on to something. You remember that?
Yeah.
I was listening super intently to what Kaufman was saying.
Yeah, that was prior to their 2019 season.
And what happened?
They won 11 football games.
And he was so honest about there was no fluff. He doesn't know me from a can of paint. And he was like, yeah, that's an interesting question. Let me tell you. Like, I was like, whoa. He's like, yeah, we kind of avoid each other and, too many analogies and too many cliches. And then it was just like, all of a sudden it hit. Oh, this is just who this guy is. So I don't know. It's just like business, man. Not everybody is for everybody.
That's the best way to describe PJ Fleck.
Right? He's not for everybody.
And the people that he's for?
Neither is Saban.
The people that he's for?
Neither is Calipari. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're there for a reason. If he's not for you, don't sign there.
Doesn't make it
Don't-
any.
don't
It's
stay
no.
there.
It's no different than the private sector. And again, I'm not condoning it. Like, I don't know if he's like hanging guys by their toes or anything, but just hear my heart. Like, I'm just saying, like, it's okay if somebody's not for you, and you're not for them.
You have options.
Just like misery, it's optional.
Here is Don Juan. Don
What's up,
Juan.
G?
How you doing?
Don Juan DeMarco.
DB. Man, I thought y'all was filibustering me, man, better than any presidential candidate we've ever had. Hey, first I wanted to ask you guys about Nebraska and Up in Smoke, right?
Yeah.
The guy that what he don't get to play for the year?
Norelli, yes.
Yeah, so what's the difference between him and Xavier? Was Xavier gone for the year too, or
No, and two totally different things. Xavier was by choice. He just decided he didn't want to play football anymore.
Okay, but now
Norelli has failed he has failed a test or tests, which warranted the year suspension.
right. So I'm just wondering about laying down the foundation for the future with the young guys, having that as an example.
It's
or what have you,
it's
you know what I mean?
it's possible if it was marijuana, but for a year suspension,
it's more than marijuana.
I don't think it's marijuana.
Oh, bro, I didn't even think about that. But
Yeah.
hey, man, I do appreciate touchdown Tommy calling in and setting the record straight because I thought it was Gil too, bro. You know?
It's
But
kind
now,
of a tough
DB,
call,
can I
right?
ask you some bud questions or no?
Yeah.
Okay, if I gave you 10 days from now, will they have the fight signed or not?
No.
You say no.
No.
Yeah.
So if they do, you gonna give me a ringside seat, bro, or what?
I don't know about ringside.
Hey,
I
man,
may-
yeah, right, bro. Hey, just let me in the building. But now, I
Plane
wanted to
tickets
know
are
about the-
expensive. If you can handle the flight, man, that might be cheaper than the ticket.
The flight?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, man. We're gonna get there, bro. But I wanted to ask you about the lawsuit.
Okay. Which one?
The Bud Crawford lawsuit.
Oh, with Bob?
Yeah, because they did a thing where they said that Bob tried to get it thrown out of the court, and they said that it had merit and standing in that court.
Yeah, they're gonna have to see that through.
All the way through, bro. Yeah, because he was trying to stall him out, you know what I mean? Make it take more time and have him have to spend more money on it. But they just said that everything, man, bro, they were saying like he was fraudulent. Help me with that word. There you go, bro.
Yeah.
Representing him though. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just kind of wanted to get your opinions on that, bro. And will you guys stop trying to get the East Coast baseball more players, bro? I mean, like for real. My Rays is kind of, Hey man, I want a shortstop and a catcher. That's all I need, bro. I mean, a major league one. DB.
Yes, sir.
Shock the world, man. Do your thing, bro.
My man.
Don Juan got a lot in there.
I already
What-
I needed to
What's he
walk
doing
up.
to my guy, my Mariner High School, Cape Coral Mariner High School, Mike Zanino?
Well,
That's the Rays catcher.
I think it's a Florida Gator thing. We wouldn't understand.
No.
Although he was really good when he was here.
Yes, and he had a fantastic year last year. He was an all-star. It does seem that the Crawford Spence thing was on a fast track, and now it is slowed down. Why?
Pardon?
It slowed down.
What did?
The negotiations. This is going to happen.
Oh.
Not that it's not going to happen, but it seemed like it was boom, here we go, going to be in a couple days, and now we're
Well, who's representing Bud's side? Right? Because he in essence is a free agent.
Mhm.
And you have revenue splits. Like Spence will tell you every day that ends in Y that he is what they call the A side. And Terrence is the B side. And the A side, just think of like a record, right?
Mhm.
The one that you'd play
Yeah.
first. And it has to be a point where folks think it's fair. This one isn't about right. This one's about fair. If you want the fight to happen. Again, I gave the analogy last week. I don't really want to fight you
Mhm.
if I say, hey man, meet me in Tahiti. It's on and cracking. I don't want to fight.
Yeah.
Now, I do want to fight if I said this room is too small. Let's just go out in the hallway. Right?
Yeah.
That's like
It's on.
65-35 split. You don't want to fight.
No.
70-30, you don't want to fight. You don't.
Get out the way. Make it happen.
Yeah, well, let's hope so.
All right. Unfortunately,
I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic.
Oh,
I'm not
I
just saying
think it's
that.
going to
I'm
happen.
I'm
We just need October 22nd, the open weekend.
Yeah.
Sarah Baker Hansen will be unavailable to join us. So we'll get her next week. Coming up, though, at the bottom of the hour, Stephen M. Sipple. Don't forget, you still have time to get in questions for Ask Us Anything. Oscar's Pizza and Grill, nice gift card on the line. It is, as advertised, Ask Us Anything on Sharp and Betting in the morning at 1620 The Zone.
Hey, if you suffer from joint pain, arthritis, maybe it's from an injury. You know those traditional treatments, pain meds, kind of steroids, then surgery. Well, you've got alternatives now. Great news. There's a better way. It's here, and it's from the local medical professionals at QC Kinetics. It's the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. This is an advanced and exciting, and here's the key. It's all natural, alternative to give you lasting relief using your body's own healing power. Listen. Steroid shots can be toxic to your joints, and pain meds can be addictive. Nobody wants to go under the knife. It's 2022, and we're out with those old ways and in with some new ones. It starts with natural biologics, right? No drugs, no downtime, no surgery. QC Kinetics regenerative protocols can address any pain and any joint and give you the quality of life you deserve. Call now to schedule your free consultation. 402 205 4960. That's 402 205 4960.
All right, coming up in the next hour, should there be a disconnect between what you consider your rival and the team you dislike the most? Scott Docterman on The Athletic, interesting poll in a fan survey. Iowa fans consider Wisconsin their biggest rival, but the team they dislike the most is Nebraska. Can the biggest rival be the one you dislike the most? Or is this an Oklahoma-Colorado thing?
Oh.
Hold that. We'll talk about it in the next hour.
Yeah.
Sharp and Betting in the morning on 1620 The Zone.
Pitch. Contreras swings. Lines one to deep left. Way back. Still going. It's gone. Wilson Contreras, a 2-run home run to left center field. And the Cubs extend the lead 5-0 over the Reds here in the 5th.
Halftime already. That was quick. Brought to you by Harsh Cigars, Pipes, and Lounge. Want to relax, enjoy a nice cigar, a little pipe? Make a nice cocktail. Harsh Cigars, Pipes, and Lounge has got you covered. Fantastic location. I'm on that side of town a lot, off the North 48th Street exit, the Mormon Bridge Road, located right next to Cubby's. Everything up the first 2 hours on the replay page.
Today is the first day of NBA free agency. Jalen Brunson will have meetings with the Knicks, the Mavs, and the Heat. Bradley Beal declined $36.4 million. But here's a little nugget as you prepare accordingly for NBA free agency. By the way, we had a trade yesterday. The Hawks have gone all in on a backcourt of Trae Young and Dejounte Murray in trading Gallinari and 3 first-rounders.
Offense,
to
offense, defense, and 2-point guard.
Mm-hmm. Intriguing.
Yeah, I'm not one of those guys, though, that thinks Murray can only play a certain way. Like, I've seen this work before, right, where 2 guards play like points and points play like 2s. You know, Nash and Curry come to mind. I mean, we'll see.
So Murray is a guy, 20-plus points per game, 9-plus assists per game, 8-plus rebounds per game. That's kind of some rarefied air.
Yeah.
But the Hawks definitely are all in on getting back to the postseason and going as far as they went a couple of years ago. But here is a note. The NBA salary cap this year is $123.6 million. The NFL salary cap this year is $208.2 million. The NBA cap is 60% of the NFL cap with 25% the number of players. My quick takeaway, shouldn't the NFL salary cap be higher? $208.2 million. NBA cap is 60% of the NFL cap with 25% of the number of players.
Big numbers. Would you? So you want to have your kids grow up to be basketball players?
Yes, but in this case,
smaller pool though.
But in this case, the NFL, that salary cap seems to me to be a little bit low.
So I read somewhere more great research because I committed it to memory. In 2 years, Golden State could pay as much as $450 million in luxury tax. Potentially. How'd you like that?
Does winning championships neutralize that?
Well, they tell you yes. Now, they won't let it get there, but I mean, wow. That's why you needed a new arena.
SIP's coming up at the bottom of the hour. So in The Athletic on the Iowa side, which is covered so great by Scott Docterman, he did a fan survey. Kind of an interesting. There's part in there on how Iowa approaches name, image, likeness, and can Iowa keep up recruiting name, image, likeness? Kirk Ferentz had some interesting comments. But one of the things they asked is, which team is Iowa's biggest rival? Wisconsin at about 45%, Iowa State at 32%, Minnesota at 15%, and then Nebraska's at 7.6%. Which team do you dislike the most? Nebraska, 56%, Iowa State, 20%, Wisconsin, 10%, Minnesota, 8%. So I was thinking, how many times does your rival and your most disliked team are the same school? So Oklahoma was the rival, disliked was Colorado.
Yeah. So what made that question interesting, it was for a short, fleeting stunt. I would have said that Colorado was our rival.
And disliked as well, or would you say dislike K-State?
I would say that they were the most disliked and our rival. K-State was up there. Colorado was different. I'd be curious to get that 4 or 5 year opinion from other people. That's how I felt. I didn't think of Oklahoma much at all.
And see, you and I have talked about this, and we both came along. It's
when you get them.
Yeah,
right?
I did not grow up as a Nebraska fan, so I was on the outside watching from the heyday of Oklahoma, Nebraska. So when I got here, the rivalry from the Oklahoma standpoint was going downhill. I mean, I went to a football game in Norman, and Oklahoma allowed 73 points to Nebraska. I mean, what's going on here? So when I got in, it was Colorado. It was the upstart of K-State. But I'm just curious, outside of like the Iron Bowl, how many times when you ask this question, does dislike and rival equal the same thing? And so then I started thinking about rivalries around here with either Creighton or Omaha. The only one I can think with Creighton would be, and maybe I'm off here, and correct me if I'm wrong, Missouri Valley Conference when Wichita State was your rival and you also disliked Wichita State.
Yeah, where was Southern Illinois in that?
Good? But wasn't always Creighton Wichita State the rivalry?
I don't know.
And the
about that.
dislike?
I don't know. I don't feel super comfortable speaking on it. Maybe. For some, it's the same. North Carolina Duke, it's the same. Boston and New York, I think
Yankees.
it's the same. Baltimore and Pittsburgh, I think it's the same. I think the Steelers look at the Ravens as their rival and their most disliked.
Not Cleveland?
I think
Like
it's
do
changed.
you hate Cleveland? I'm not using the word hate with you, but dislike Cleveland more than Baltimore? Like with the Chiefs, I agree. The Broncos
Yes.
are the same thing.
With me,
Yeah.
I dislike Cleveland more than I dislike Baltimore. Well, let me tell you why. Because the older me appreciates what Harbaugh has done. So it's hard for me to look down on that.
Mm-hmm.
I still think the Browns are kind of Mickey Mouse. So it's easy to fuel that disdain. Kind of like the Giants, even though I really, really dislike the Giants. Or not the Giants. Terrible example. The Cardinals.
Mm-hmm.
Used to really hate the Cardinals, right? They were ruining the Dodgers postseason. But I have come to appreciate how they run their organization.
Through this little exercise, more likely in professional sports, rival and dislike the same. D. Marina says Wichita SIU 1A 1 and 1A.
I thought SIU would be in the hunt. I mean, those were nasty, and they played a certain way. Like those were super nasty.
So if you pose this question right now to a Nebraska football fan base, rival Iowa, dislike same, or is it a school we talked about last hour in PJ Fleck in Minnesota?
For Nebraskans?
Mm-hmm. Dislike.
Might be both. I think Minnesota would be the next closest, even ahead of Wisconsin. Wisconsin may fall more into the respect, kind of like to be them, the terrible narrative of Nebraska to the north thing. I don't subscribe.
I don't think Wisconsin cares about Nebraska.
But I do think Kristen Joy is trying to stick it to Nebraska.
Yeah.
That's just, you know what I mean? Like, that's just a
personal thing.
Yeah.
But I always get the impression from Wisconsin, either players we talk to or other media, it's Nebraska. It's a game on the schedule. But I am with you in
maybe Iowa just
in
doesn't
the
want to
head coach.
acknowledge that we're their rival because we haven't won enough.
Well, and the Iowa-Wisconsin rivalry has been around a lot longer. But I have no doubt on the high percentage of the dislike. Pat writes in on our discussion about Creighton in the Missouri Valley. Reason for the hate between Creighton and Wichita State and Southern Illinois, for that matter, the drastic cultural differences between the school. Creighton is a much better cultural fit in their current conference. Okay, so let's go with the current conference in this discussion about your rival and your dislike. Dislike UConn. Am I off there on the dislike Creighton men's basketball? Rival, would you say Villanova? And dislike UConn?
I don't know if they've been in the conference long enough for a true Big East rival. Now, there is some dislike, though. They do seem to really dislike UConn. But I don't know if they've been long enough. There have been any back and forth because you know who has to make the rivalry? The fan base.
Yes. And okay, and so on this
That's
this
what I
part of this
think.
discussion.
I could be all
Well,
wet.
okay, so
because I
part of-
haven't been in this game long.
So
enough.
okay, no, that's good because I think part of a rivalry is a regional thing. In college sports, it's a regional thing. So you're in a conference where the closest school to you are either Milwaukee or Chicago. Ideally, Marquette would be a rival, but I don't think Marquette is a rival. And I use Villanova because Villanova's not going to feel the same way because Villanova-Creighton games, for the most part, have always meant something.
Yeah.
They have had a meaning either to win a conference tournament, a conference championship, or a key game at that point in the season.
Yeah, the Marquette is getting some run. Just got another one, right? So Marquette has a lot of history pre-Big East between the fan bases. Xavier is a close second if you're just talking in the 2000s. That sounds about right. I could definitely see the Marquette thing, though.
I wonder how Marquette people feel about Creighton.
How Marquette people feel about Creighton?
Oh.
I don't know.
Now they've had some significant games. Most recently, the triple OT game up in Milwaukee back on New Year's Day, and then the game here of the Hauser shot. But there's right now in the Nebraska football, does the rival and the dislike, are they the same school?
Gosh, my gut says yes.
I mean, Mitch has got to be doing one of these fan surveys, right, for the Nebraska part of the Athletic?
My gut says it would be Iowa for both.
I don't think Minnesota would be
No,
very
I'm
far
with
behind in the dislike.
and if you know what, if you were right, I would just tip my cap. I'd say, you know what, I could see that.
And isn't it funny about Minnesota? It's all about one guy.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's all about one guy.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Which circles back to our conversation about the most polarizing guy.
Yeah,
in the Big Ten.
it was weird, right? We used
Yeah.
to cheer for Jerry Kill.
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that something? Oh, it's not going to affect us. It's okay. It won't be at our expense.
And then PJ Fleck showed up and won and did it a certain way and beat you and the way he beat you. Whether it be
Yeah, a lot of there's a lot of the discussions and the long, annoying embraces, and I mean, he could needle now. He could needle. He knew exactly what he was doing too. He made you mad, and he didn't even say one word to you. You told him to
Well,
put his notes down.
well,
I'm
it's-
like, what? How do we know those are notes in his folder?
they were talking points. That's what you would call it.
Dude,
with
that
him.
was driving you bonkers.
Well, so here's the story about PJ Fleck and his relationship with the media. The first year that he was in the Big Ten, he was the hot guy from Western Michigan.
Yeah.
And everybody wanted to talk to him. And I remember 25 minutes he sat down and talked. And he again, you have opinions on him. He is pretty on point with every time he sits down for an interview, he's got his talking points that he's going to hit on himself and his program. And so he did that. And then that was 2019 when they had some success. He showed up and he had no time for anybody but Minnesota media. And I'm like, come on, we were there from the start. But he carried around his folder and it had his talking points in it that he wanted to hit on every time he talked to a television station or he went on his own radio network.
All right, so bang, bang, bang in succession. I'm getting Iowa for both. But that's only it's still only three people, right? Not a big enough
And I'm
sample
not
size.
I'm not going to push back. The only way that Minnesota enters the discussion about the disliked is one guy. I mean, are we riled up at Tanner Morgan?
No.
Were we riled up about Antonio Winfield Jr. or Johnson? No. It's in college, it's about the coach because they're probably going to hang around. They're going to be around a lot longer, mostly than the players.
And the coaches typically can rally up the fan bases too. I mean, we saw McCartney single-handedly do it.
Yeah,
he got
the
the
hate
players.
for Colorado was because of a guy running the show.
Yeah.
I mean, is there a player at Colorado that you absolutely disliked, that enraged you? Joel Steed? Alfred Williams? I'm thinking of defensive guys that took cracks at the black shirts.
Yeah.
Chris
Man,
Hudson,
for number one.
Chad Brown.
No, Chris Hudson.
Now, Chad Brown, I will give you for the game in Boulder, the Stiggy 1919
and
game.
Chris Hudson ran it quite a
Byron
bit.
Bennett, I mean.
Ran it quite a bit. Hudson for sure. Rest of those guys, Beekert, Brown, Canavis McGee, Williams, Clavel. Clavel ran it a little bit. But for sure, Chris Hudson. I remember he got trucked by T. Fraze one game, and these two went back and forth like you wouldn't believe. And Hudson brought drama. Like he could hit, and T. Fraze lowered boom on him, and it changed the whole complexion of that game. It's like, buckle up, big boy.
Yeah.
This one's going to be hectic.
Mike writes in, hated Wichita State. They were my rival, and I disliked them because of their head coach. Their head coach, Greg Marshall, did not like. Rival, dislike. All right, we got Stephen M. Sipple coming up here in just a little bit, but let's get Ed.
Another Iowa for both.
Hello, Ed.
Hey, you guys talk about players we hate. I hated Salinesi. Still hate Salinesi. So, yeah, I hate coaches, but I hate players too. So,
all right, put one on the board for restarting the Salinesi.
Ed, were you at the 90 game in Lincoln?
I was not, but no, I was not.
Okay, because I didn't know if you were part of that had the bed sheet in the one end zone that said Sal is dead, go Big Red.
Not something to celebrate, but man, just like a young person.
All right, so Ed, who would be your second most hated player of all time, opposing player?
Cordell Stewart. Hated him too. Cocky little punk.
Let's just pile on Colorado.
I'm just going to guess, Ed, you do not like Colorado.
What is it like about Colorado?
Hey, is third like Eric Bieniemy or?
Oh,
sure. Hey,
yeah.
How about every Missouri player that took a cheap shot on any Nebraska football player over the decades?
Yeah. There's a lot of that too.
Remember the helmet to the knee on Jarvis Redwine?
Oh,
yes.
Yeah. Yeah, that did get that party started. And remember when they got the win in '76? Ed, I appreciate the call. See, now everybody's fired.
All right, let's make this. We'll do another segment, and then we'll get to Sip. The most hated players.
Hey.
It doesn't matter who you root for, if you're red, black, or blue Nebraska.
How intense was Ed, though?
Hey, I hated Bieniemy. I hated Bieniemy.
That's what I thought he was going to say. Because remember, that quarter and a half was unbelievable.
Darian Hagan and Eric Bieniemy.
I mean, we talk a lot about Melvin Gordon. Bieniemy did the same thing.
Well, so both those guys in the same game, the taking off the helmet and hated Bieniemy and hated Hagan.
Yeah, I was a big Darian Hagan fan, though, man. I gotta own that one. I gotta own it. I told you I wore 3 in high school for that reason.
I've come around on Bieniemy, not so much on Hagan.
I wouldn't. I mean, I hope he does whatever he wants to do in the NFL, but I'm not cheering for him.
Thinking of the current, is there a current player in the Big Ten that Nebraska has played in the last, since Nebraska's been in the Big Ten, that elicits hate?
He could have just rattled him off. How long you think we could have let Ed go?
Oh, well, see, that was the part of the Colorado thing, Damon. You were in the middle of it. There was no likable player that played for Colorado back then.
I'm going to be honest, though.
Jeff Campbell? Hell no.
If we let it go enough, Missouri will creep back into the discussion. The Jarvis Redwine thing was huge. Even I know about that. And remember when they got the big win in, was that 78 or 76? T.O. got upset. And I bet you the older fan, Missouri could creep in there.
Yeah. And then Missouri crept back in towards the tail end of the Big 12 because people didn't like Gary Pinkel.
And oh my gosh.
All right, Tim, stay right there. Most hated player in the last 10 years, since Nebraska entered the Big Ten.
I got one.
All right, save that. Hated opposing player.
Easy.
That elicits a response. Oh man, we could do the Colorado thing. We could
Easy.
roll through so many Colorado.
It's not a Colorado guy.
Oh no, I mean
Easy.
Coy Detmer,
You don't even have to. No, it's not a Colorado guy.
Gary Barnett.
Nope. I just told you it's not a Colorado guy.
I know, I'm just rattling off Colorado because now he's got my blood boiling here about certain Colorado players. I mean, even Rashawn Salam, Ray Caruth.
Wow.
See, here's part of this discussion that I miss.
I still can't believe I went shopping with that guy.
I miss is the part of the Nebraska-Colorado brief run is look at the guys we're naming off. That shows you the impact of Colorado.
Year one Carolina when he bought like 30 CDs. Remember I told you the story of the pickup truck? He cut everybody's hair at camp. He's a barber. He had a sweet pickup truck. I'm like, dang, brothers got pickup trucks?
1990 what?
6.
And he bought 30 CDs?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, those things were rolling like 25, 30 bucks a piece at that time.
But he was rich.
Yeah. But just 30 CDs.
I think he was like the 20th pick, 21st. And they took Menor the next round. We went and got CDs. Mike and I got a new video game console, and my man went shopping for CDs.
Thanks, Ray.
I didn't dislike him. He never talked. Never said a word, really.
And still really has not said much.
Yeah.
Huh. All right.
Not a Buffalo, but I easy number one for me.
I got to. There's just so many Colorado guys.
Not a Buffalo.
I know. I'm not saying that, but I'm riled up on Canavius McGee.
He wasn't hateable.
Oh God, yeah, he was.
He was a stud.
He was
a
jerk.
Stud, though.
I don't care. He was a jerk.
If you're gonna dislike anybody in that linebacking core because he was nasty, it should have been Beaker.
Right.
Yeah, Beaker. He
Former Raider.
He brought drama too.
8:34. Sharp betting in the morning at 16:20 the zone. We say hello to Chad May, former Kansas State quarterback who now lives in San Francisco. He was on the hated list briefly. Keith Duncan, place kicker at Iowa, who actually included it in a name, image, likeness Applebee's commercial last year about his love of kicking against Nebraska. What if somebody hated Charles Thompson?
They probably got over it in a hurry. I mean, are we winning?
What if you hated Charles Thompson and that run of OU teams, and you go to a game this fall and you sit down and you happen to be near the parents section and Charles Thompson is sitting next to you in support of his son Casey, who is playing quarterback for your beloved team?
Yeah, and our Equitable Bank Zone inbox, and this is probably in Mark's wheelhouse. He said Missouri was a thorn in Nebraska's side in the mid to late 70s when Warren Powers was head coach, James Wilder running wild in 78, and they had just beaten OU the week before. I'll always remember the 76 game when Nebraska had Missouri pinned inside the 5, and they hit Leo Lewis on a 96-yard touchdown pass over the top. Tore my young heart out. I could go on and on. I'm telling you, but you give it enough time, Missouri will creep back in. Missouri bugged Coach Osborne. I do know that. Because we didn't get it, but
Yeah.
And then later on they would be that team too.
Because he wasn't able to pick up Jeff Handy or Tony Van Zandt. And I wanted Tony Van Zandt to be so good. And man, how many knee injuries did he have at Mizzou? And that turf was so bad. Well, I mean,
yeah, that turf was awful.
Oh, brutal. Here is Tim before we get to Sip. Good morning, Tim.
What's going on, fellas?
Tim, what's up, buddy?
Hey, yeah, Chad May was my one. Shoot, that guy chucked 450 yards at one time in Memorial Stadium, and I think we still won by like 17 or 20. And then my second one would be Major Applewhite, that Opie looking SOB.
Tim, thanks for the call.
Oh man, I am surprised the memory vault has nailed my choice. My buddy got it right away. Who do you think's the guy that I have the most disdain for?
Let me just mention this real quick. 489 on 51 passes. I'm just saying that for Chad May. And they did not win. This is a big, and by the way, there was a Big 8 record at the time. Is this a player during your era or since that you hated?
Absolutely.
I'm trying to. You had interaction with this person.
Indirectly, and then a couple of times walking off the field.
It's not a Colorado player.
No.
Is it a K-State player?
Correct.
Kevin Lockett.
Chad May.
Oh. Well, no, you can't just leave that there.
Couldn't.
What's the
stand
interaction with Chad May?
Couldn't stand the guy.
Well, I mean, I know what was the 94 game down there was like.
He cried and whined, and I was in a bad way.
Was this the 93 game up here or 94 down there?
It was here, and I was suspended. I had to sit the half, and we had been working on these plays that I was supposed to run, and of course, I couldn't hold up my end of it at the end of the week with some pads in my pants and the wrong tennis shoes, and just me being an idiot. Short story long, I had to sit for the first half. Came in the second half and caught a it was a wheel route because they wanted to find ways to throw me the ball right, and I caught a long one on Purcell Gaskins along the sidelines, and I'm coming. It's in front of them. Chad May's just running his mouth. Little bitch, little bitch. And, after the game, he's like getting into it with some of the defensive guys. And I'm like that little annoying kind of guy trying to jump over the pile. Like, yeah, like this dude, like super upset. Then he whined after we got him in Manhattan about the eye pokes, and he and Christian were going back and forth. And he was like, see you in jail and this kind of other stuff. Like that guy, I cannot stand that guy. And I was already in a bad way that home game, right? Because I was mad. But yeah, for sure, Chad May.
He told Christian, see you in jail?
or he kept telling like we were going to like that's basically what his theory was. Like we were, and we hadn't even really done anything then. I mean, I think it was just kind of the MO. Oh yeah, they got into it tough.
Oh yeah, I mean he whined. I remember the post game in '94.
Yeah, are you talking about the eye pokes?
Yeah,
and
he got
whatever?
grabbed in the.
I'm like, bro, my finger is bent from being snapped at the bottom of a pile. You better go on somewhere with the whining.
All right, Sips coming next. Sharp and Betting in the morning at 1620 The Zone. "58 days from now, Nebraska football kicks off. It'll be here and the place to go to get to see every Nebraska game, home and away, to get the best seats, best selection. My good friends at Tickets for Less, they have you covered home and away. The 7 home games this fall include that big game against Oklahoma in the middle of September. Or you want to go on the road, maybe to the big house, find your tickets at ticketsforless.com. Don't forget, every time at Tickets for Less, formerly Ticket Express, you're going to save big because you never pay outrageous per ticket fees like you do on other sites. Check them out, compare, and you will find out why ticketsforless.com is the place to go to get to see Nebraska home and away this upcoming fall. Sharp betting in the morning. There's Damon, Gary, Chance, Shane. We got a full house in today as we go 4 wide, and we welcome in Jake. Jake, thanks for the call. Welcome to the show.
Hey, guys.
Hello,
So with the last segment, got to mention the original booger eater himself, Chase Daniel.
Getting a lot of run.
And then I guess as an honorable mention, was his name Keith Duncan, the kicker
from Iowa.
who
Getting a lot of run.
Yeah. You guys say hate from Nebraska fans, and I'm like, those are the two that came to mind.
Hey, Jake, on the other side, who do you think is the most hated player that Nebraska has ever had from opposing fan bases?
Ooh, player?
Mm-hmm. Don't mean to put you on the spot. Damon and I we were having this discussion off the air.
I said Zach Wiegert's got to be up there for my era.
Yeah.
He got into it with everybody.
I guess off the top of my head, it would be any offensive lineman or defensive lineman from the golden age, just because they, talk junk and let everybody know about it. So.
Jake, thanks for the call.
That's a good call defensively, too. Oh, another good one from my buddy Jeff, Broderick Thomas.
Yeah, probably Oklahoma fans.
Well, and he ran it against the free world. he let everybody have it. I mean, he has zero governor.
We can only have one player that we can all come up with during the course of Nebraska's time in the Big Ten, and it's a kicker.
Oh, it's got to be.
Because I can't, other than that, it's coaches.
Yeah.
Can't stand Chris, can't stand Ferentz, can't stand Fleck.
Well, mine was easy.
Craig agrees with you. Couldn't stand the guy. He was always complaining.
Always. He talks slick, like, yeah, I'm good on that.
He, if you ran into him in San Francisco where he is working, I don't think you would recognize him.
Right.
He does not look like the quarterback that was playing in Manhattan.
Quarterback. What's he doing?
I think he's in some type of financial services. I believe he is doing pretty well post K-State career.
Oh, yeah. Not surprised.
By far the most hated quarterback. Travis Oaks would be another one from K-State because of what he did to Crouch in '98. I don't think people hated Michael Bishop. I don't think they hated Al Roberson. No Jonathan Beasley. I'm just going through the K-State quarterbacks during that run. You will get, and this just popped up from Rick. He said, I'm going to be on an island here, but I couldn't stand Bill Snyder.
Oh, just kind of the smug approach.
I think that's what he's.
I could see that.
Brian also, another Brian writes into the Equitable Bank inbox. When it comes to players you absolutely hate, there are only two words: Brian Bosworth.
Somebody said Bosworth.
I mean, go through the list of Oklahoma players.
Yeah, somebody said Bosworth, and I can't remember who.
I mean, Keith Jackson,
it's
Lydell Carr.
So Journey, our assistant coach, Mike Jernigan,
Mm-hmm.
that's his favorite player.
Bosworth?
Yes. He's got the jersey. He rocks it. When he does, he lets me know.
Does he have the hair?
Well, no, he's shaved now, but I'm sure he would. He's
Now
nice.
Bosworth is getting run here. Craig says he was a douche.
I don't think you could say that.
Well, he just did. I'm just repeating what he said. I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I was reading an email. Yeah. All right. Coming up here in a little bit, we have an announcement that pertains to our show. I guess we were going to wait to make this announcement tomorrow morning.
Sip said 2 minutes, Chance.
Okay. So what we're going to do here, we'll have Sip on, but we have an announcement that pertains to the future of our show. Again, I thought we were going to wait until tomorrow, guys, but we're going to do it here at the top of the hour. So you want to tune in for that we will discuss. We'll have Sip on. We've got Ask Us Anything. And then Brian Edwards will be by as well. So stay tuned. Some big news coming up concerning Sharp and Betting in the Morning. That's next on 1620 The Zone.
Sharp and Benning in the morning on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, and the 1620 The Zone app. Here are Gary Sharp and Damon Benning.
3-2. That is a deep drive to left down the line, and that John is long gone. Adam Duvall hits one out of the ballpark. Pick up your pencil and write that in your book.
All right, welcome back in. Last hour, Sharp and Benning in the morning. We're going to get to SIP here in just a moment. But as I teased it, I thought we were not going to do this until tomorrow, but this is perfectly fine. We do have some major news concerning our show. It has been, I think, I tried to calculate this, fellas, well over 2,000 shows that Gary, Damon, and Shane have been waking up Omaha, whether it be at 7 o'clock or in part 2 of Sharp and Benning in the morning, since January, waking all of you up at 6. And you know that with all of you, you're part of the family, and especially the three of us, we are a family. We spend a lot of time together. We have a lot of discussions on air. We have, of course, a lot of discussions off air. We've all gotten to know each other a little bit more. We've all showed our vulnerability. We've told stories about ourselves. But we as a threesome have developed a heck of a bond. And especially in a business where people come and go, that can be tough to do. But we are losing a member of Sharp and Benning in the morning. Again, over 2,000 shows that we have been together. And when we get back together on Tuesday, we will not have a member of the show who is leaving NRG Media. And before he says anything, we are happy for him. Damon and I are very, very happy for him. But Shane is leaving Sharp and Benning in the morning. And, you know, it's been kind of tough for us because we've known about this for a while. And College World Series hit. But
I thought you were going to let him say that.
Because he's getting emotional over here, Damon. Look at that. He's choking up. But Shane has an announcement for everybody.
Well, this week has been a pretty special week, and it's really gone back 22 years. The reason why I bring that up, because it was on this date exactly 22 years ago that I accepted my first job in radio as a sports talk show producer. It was on this date that I became the Gary Java producer. And let me just read a couple of, I actually have the job posting still. Let me just read a couple of the things that I wanted to read here. The functions that I will be partaking in was to arrange interviews and program guests at the direction of the program host, record and edit interviews and highlights in preparation for the daily broadcast, run control board and screen callers for the 3 to 6 program, integrate show elements into a cohesive, smooth, flowing presentation, record program segments for rebroadcast, promotional use, and prepare daily promotional announcements following each program. And the qualifications were basic radio control board operating proficiency, audio editing and processing experience, preferably digital. That's funny to say that now. General knowledge and strong interest in sports and ability to participate effectively as part of a team. And looking back over the last 22 years, I think I've been able to check each one of those off. I know in certain areas more so than others, but it's been, and the funny thing about that, when I did start, it was a part-time position. The hours were just 1:30 to 6:30. Could you imagine doing this job as a producer
For just 5 hours?
for just 5 hours? You just come roll in out of the sack at 1:30, just come in and get done at 6:30, then just call it a day.
Yeah.
You don't pay attention to sports. You don't do the Twitter thing. You don't do any of the social media thing. So it's involved over the last 22 years, and it's been it really has been an amazing 22 years to be in this building and to have started downtown, really, when we were downtown, and and then the move up here. And then over the 22 years, there's been several owners. There's been several people in charge from different PDs and station managers and general managers and to the different hosts that I've worked with all throughout the years in the 5 or 6 different shows that I've had, and to end it with you guys, the 2 people that I've worked with the most, Gary and Damon. I mean, that's like you said, 2,000 shows in a span of what, about
8+ years?
8+ years. That's pretty amazing. I mean, I don't think you really can't get a run like that in radio anymore. It's just really not heard of. And then that was one of the hardest things when I made the decision, and it really wasn't taken very lightly. And it was a decision that I had a lot of help in, because I don't know how to leave. I still don't know how to leave. I mean, I've been here for 22 years, and most people in radio, they come and go within like 3, 4, 5 years. So in 22 years, that's like 7 different jobs for somebody, for the average person in radio. And so it's just like they would just come and go. Whereas, I don't know, I still don't know how to leave. I mean, I'm expecting on Tuesday morning for myself to get up at 5 o'clock and be getting ready to come in here, and it's just not going to happen, unfortunately. But it has been an amazing run. There's been a lot of people. Sorry, there's been a lot of people that have been really good to me. You guys, the different PDs that I've had, Neil Nelkin, and on down the line through the different PDs, Tepper, current PD, David, and the different station managers and general managers, Schlecterly, all the salespeople have been great that have been in the building to show support throughout the years. And what it really comes down to, the best part of the job has really been the listeners and the interaction with them, whether it just be them calling in and maybe the banter back and forth on Twitter. I'm probably going to miss that the most, because that's been probably the best part of this job, is the daily interaction with each of the listeners out there. So I am going to miss that truly very much. The other thing I'm going to miss too is the different guests that we've had on each week, and maybe every semi-weekly. The guests have been great to be able to have on the air. A lot of great people have been good to me and to the show, and I'm gonna miss it a lot. I really, truly am gonna miss it a lot. Like I said, I don't really know how to leave. So on that note, we at least get one more day together, and that'll be tomorrow. So we'll go from there. Thank you.
You gonna finish a full meal or a full drink, or how's it? What are we gonna do to celebrate the fact that 22 years you just
and it was 22 years to the day. Can you believe that?
That's
and
cool.
it's no disrespect to Chance or anybody else that's filled in.
And thank you, Chance, for filling in.
But we know the impact when we don't. It's like a team, right? Like, we know when you're gone, because there are things that we take for granted that happen during the course of the show that it's just different, and it's become part of the show, right? And I know you don't love talking, and we'd like you to interact more, and it's not your
with
jam.
my drops. I mean, I'd be playing drops right now, left and right.
That's what
if I
people
could.
don't realize. Tomorrow's 4 hours
So
of
should we just do
drops.
like a poll question? Maybe we should have Happer and Yeshua do it. Shane, could we have a whole show tomorrow of nothing but talking to drops?
I think we should.
Yeah, I don't know if we can pull that off.
Well, we as you mentioned, we have one more day, and Damon and I are very happy for you. We're sad for the show because we're a family. but we're very happy for what is your next job, which I know they're very excited to get you in the house as well.
Well, thank you very much for being, part of my life for the last 8 years. It's been good, and like I said, thank you to everybody out there.
It's been good
for that.
Shane's
Seriously.
the only one that's nice to me. I feel like I need to go where he's going. What am I gonna? Chance.
Yo.
Are you kind?
I would describe myself as kind. Enough.
Nobody said anything to us. Is that not weird?
I know. Just keep it moving, man.
All right.
So that's our big announcement. We'll have tomorrow. Tomorrow's Shane's
Shane,
last
I love
day.
you, man. You're my dude.
So we will take care of Shane as
Do you
we
want to
always
do Frogger across Dodge Street one more time?
Oh, yeah. We got some stories to share that now we can share them publicly of things we've done as the threesome.
Did you know he threw a football 20 yards?
Yeah.
10. He threw it 10.
Dude, all I had to know, you'd been here a week and you gave him money to run shirtless across Dodge.
Well, if I'm ever out,
And Shane did.
If you ever see me out in public, buy me a beer. I'm sure I could tell you a lot of stories that have happened.
How much time do they have? It's going to
over the
take you
last-
about 7 days to drink it.
Hey, I've got a lot of stories
My
over the
man's
last
about
22
2 ounces
years.
an hour. Are you sure there's no other announcements you want to make? The one I've been asking you to make for the last 8 years?
No.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
Just going to keep that a secret still, huh? All right.
Sip is next. Hey, we're going to celebrate Shane's last day tomorrow, like we did with the college baseball championship, like we're going to do with this upcoming weekend with Screwball Peanut Butter Whiskey. It's the original peanut butter whiskey, and we're going to enjoy it. And you should enjoy it as well. Now, you know, it's a perfect way to celebrate the wild and wonderful in all of us. It can be a little bit salty. It's savory. It's unlike anything you've tasted before. But when you mix it, yeah, it is golden.
Golden is right. You know what? You can drink it straight, kind of neat, room temperature. Maybe you like it chilled. Maybe you like it with a nice little mixed drink like Frangelico, or how about that nice big scoop of ice cream? Well, whatever you want, Screwball's got you covered. America's two traditions, peanut butter and whiskey. They go hand in hand.
Hashtag get screwed, Damon. Enjoy responsibly. Screwball Spirits, LLC, San Diego, California. Whiskey with natural flavors. 35% alcohol by volume. All right, tomorrow we will have 4 hours of nothing but Shane. Shane's last day will be tomorrow with us, making the announcement. That was really well done. We've had some other times where people have left the airwaves here, and they've just should not have even opened the mic to say goodbye.
Well, you're something else.
Shane, social media is blowing up. Yep.
Blowing up.
Well, I'm honored.
Well, you should
Say
be.
you're a good
You
dude.
should be. We are honored to be joined by Mr. On3.com, Stephen M. Sipple. Good morning, Sip.
Hey, what's going on?
Okay, well, let me tell you what's
He said,
happening
"Hey,
here.
what's going on?"
Because I don't think Shane had a chance to tell you. Shane's last day is tomorrow.
Oh, really?
Well,
really?
Yeah.
Yeah. He has taken a new job. He's leaving our company after
Yeah.
22 years.
Shane.
Well, Sip, you're partly to blame. After leaving the Journal Star after 61 years, Shane's figured, well, I'm inspired. People can make changes after, half a
80
decade.
years. Shane, congratulations. Congratulations.
Well, thank you, Sip.
Yeah, you were incredible to deal with. I would say remarkable. And I probably at times came to take how easy you were to deal with for granted. But thank you for everything, Shane.
I think he's clearly the nicest person in
That
this
truly
building.
means a lot. Thank you very much, Steve.
Yeah, I mean, Shane. Yeah, I mean, it was very and all like I've never had one bad moment with Shane, and I don't know how many years we talking. A lot of years.
Yeah.
Never one bad moment, and it get tense. And there's always little snafus, but Shane would always manage the situation very well.
So, Sip, how are things with you? Are you good?
Yeah, I would say extraordinarily busy, but yeah, fine.
Yeah. Sorry to borderline shut down your message board the other day, but that was not my fault.
Oh, I like that discussion. If you're referring to the Zane Flores discussion, I thought you had a very mature take. I mean, we can talk about Zane Flores without always making it about Nebraska, I think. Right?
Yeah. I like the word mature too. That's one thing, Sip. Like when you tell us you're going to do your next venture in another 45 years, I'm going to take mature with me.
Yeah, take it. But I mean, I thought that was, and I get where you're coming from too. Why Nebraska as a football fan base can still celebrate Zane Flores' recruitment to Oklahoma State, going to the Elite 11, his accomplishments. It doesn't have to be such a. It's not a contentious discussion in my mind. The thing I wonder about is I wondered as I was reading the thread on On3's message board, and I've always contemplated this as these discussions come up. The thing I want to know, and it's hard to know this, is what was Nebraska's evaluation of him? Was there a fair evaluation? If there's a fair evaluation and determined they wanted another quarterback, Mark Whipple went and got the quarterback from Massachusetts. Then to me, what's the problem? I don't have a problem with it as long as there's a fair evaluation.
So let's stick with the current quarterback. 2020. But not just the quarterback. What's the difference, in your opinion, on the quarterback position at Nebraska, the guys that are on the campus right now, and the way it's being recruited, whether it be Pop Watson, why he was appealing to Nebraska, or what they are looking at in 24? What's your current opinion on how the quarterback position at Nebraska, the room, is different compared to last year or even the last few years?
Different.
Why?
Because it just feels like there's more viable options. It's not so one person centric, right? I look at it much differently. I guess I would say I wouldn't be concerned. I'm not as concerned about it if the starter goes down. It doesn't become this all-encompassing conversation. Yes, if Casey Thompson were to go down, I think you have a pretty viable option in Chubba Purdy. If Chubba Purdy would go down, you have a pretty viable option in Logan Smothers. I just look at it much differently.
Hey, so Sip, let me stay right there because I thought, and I can always take something away from you almost every week over the last however many years you and I have been doing this. Last week stuck with me in particular for a couple of reasons, right? Trying to think of an offense that functions at a high level where we don't talk much about the quarterback, because I think we both agree that's what Nebraska's after. But then you talked about leadership and how to recruit positions and kind of mesh this thing together in a hurry, even though you got some new faces, right, with Williams and Ginta and Bush and Joseph and yada, yada, right? So let's stay in the quarterback room. I got into this discussion this morning a little bit. Is the quarterback room different where you're not constantly trying to recruit over those guys like you are in some other rooms, or is that still a position that needs that competition where you don't want those guys to settle in?
I think you always have to recruit with that mindset, but Purdy, there's not maybe as much urgency in that scenario that you laid out, because Purdy's a redshirt freshman, because Logan is a sophomore and seems like he wants to be here. I think Casey technically has 2 years. I guess the thing I'd wonder, I guess it's sort of an ancillary discussion, is it might be harder to recruit a quarterback right now at Nebraska because of what we just laid out. But I think you're always trying to get the best guy you can, possibly can. And I hope that you don't add many qualifiers to that discussion. I wouldn't. I mean, you just go get the best guy. I know sometimes politics and where a guy is in his career on the depth chart has to enter into it, but I think the bottom line always has to be, we're just trying to get the best guy. And you're always going to have to compete. Like, it's this old discussion, right? The quarterback, you treat the quarterback position differently than you treat other positions.
Mm-hmm.
I get running back. Damon, you were part of it at Nebraska. You just go recruit a bunch of great running backs, and you know what?
Yeah.
There's friction in the room sometimes. There's no doubt about it. Heard about it.
Oh yeah.
That not all. There's only one guy there's only one ball, and it doesn't always work out perfectly sometimes. But I'd like to think quarterback, you can do that to a certain extent.
Look what happened in the last time where there was a running back room that may be similar in terms of. Now, I'm not talking about high end because I don't know that yet. I'm just saying like talent where I think there's a lot of guys that could be good in that room. When there was a Burkhead and an Abdullah and a Hurd and an Aaron Green, right? Like,
yeah, good comparison.
That's a pretty good room right there.
Yeah, a good comparison. It worked out. I mean, the cream kind of rose to the top. The other guys, now some other guys, Braylon Hurd matriculated.
And he flourished at UK and Green blew up at TCU.
Yeah. So right now, though, I just stay in the moment right now. But I think this could be a similar situation, except you're exactly right. You just don't know if it's going to be hot. What the top end will look like.
Yeah.
Is there a pro in that bunch at Nebraska? I don't know. I wouldn't go that far. I do like it. I like the depth and I like the talent. But what is the high end like? I don't know. That's a big unknown.
58 days from now is a game. Talking about quarterbacks, how does Chubba Purdy win the job to be the starting quarterback 58 days from now?
Strong first 2 weeks of camp. I mean, come out blazing, come out like I'm the man, and really operate. You got to really operate. I mean, it's and it would probably mean that Casey didn't have a great first couple weeks. But I think if Chubba's going to win the job, they start early. They report July 26th, and I think they'll be rolling on July 27th. So if I was Chubba Purdy with designs on winning the job, or Logan Smothers, my mindset would be, there's an acclimation period where you're not doing a whole lot. You're not in pads, but they'll get into pads soon enough that I think you'd say the first 7 to 10 days you got to come out really firing and give the coaches something to think about if they're not already. Assuming they're not already, it probably depends on which one you talk to as to how much they're thinking about it. But you got to make a big impression on Whipple for sure, and that's what I would do. I'd say first 7 to 10, it's got to happen because they'll have to settle in the Northwestern preparation fairly quickly.
Stephen, that sparks another thought. Since Riley had TA, Coach Frost had Martinez, would you say this is the first time in a while that a particular coach isn't tied to a particular quarterback? Like if there was ever going to be what we would call the quote unquote blank slate, this would be it.
Yeah, especially if you're talking about head coach. That's a good point. Yeah, if you're talking about Frost, I don't know. He's not.
Oh, for sure. He's not married to either one. He's not married to anybody.
No, he's got to be married to the one who gives him the best chance to win. And you're right. You almost. You don't almost. That's a great point. That's a column idea. You remove the political part of that equation. It's removed. Yeah, he's not married to anybody. And that also goes along with this notion that I think there's legit competition.
I do too.
Yeah. I think Casey is the clubhouse favorite, however you want to put it. But I've been saying for weeks that he's got to go win the job.
Well, you want me to tell you what I think the biggest reason is? Yeah, I bet you haven't thought of this one either. This is the first time in fall camp that these coaches will see Purdy relatively healthy with the ability to cut him loose. So his ability to change an opinion versus what we last saw him with pads on is greater than anybody else that I think has a chance to win that job.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of things that come to mind. Now, he had 3 practices, I believe, in spring, at the end of spring, where you would say he was in normal capacity, pads on, working with the guys. 3. That's it, 3. And then looked pretty good in the spring game. Now, the question in my mind, and I don't know this, what's his summer been like? What was his June like?
Yeah.
They operate over there. It's practice. I mean, it's not, they're doing a lot on their own. But it's more structured than a lot of people probably think. So what does that look like? What's that look like for Logan? What's it look like for Casey? And then now that conversation continues into July. And again, it's on. I mean, camp is July 26th, July 27th.
Crazy.
So yeah, I have thought about that. Let's see. Now, I keep saying Casey's got to go win the job. You might say, no, it's probably just a matter of will he lose the job? I don't know, however you want to phrase it. I think he's got to assert himself in those first 7 to 10 days.
All right, take Noelle out of the mix. Do you have your depth chart? Tackle, guard, center, guard, tackle?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start with Prohaska.
Yeah.
And go to left guard?
Yeah, I'd say right now, Turner Corcoran, Kevin Williams, and then I go center, Trent Hickson, and right guard, Brock Bando, and then right tackle. I think they'll give Ben Hart a crack. Now that there's a lot of, there's provisions in there.
That's pretty legit.
The Turner
That's pretty
Corcoran
legit. That's
left
pretty
guard
legit.
is
Sip.
one that is to watch.
And there's a potential that one of those other two guards could beat out the right guard. But I do like what you said about Ben Hart, too. That's fair, right? You're just setting the expectation level. That's not an indictment.
No, I think that they want Ben Hart to prove himself. And I think they would like him to be able to hold down right tackle. And I like the fact they're not, you don't give up on a sophomore.
Yep.
I mean, especially an offensive lineman. So let's see what that looks like.
Hey, hold that thought, though, about how soon you cut guys loose, man. Because are you looking at these potential yeses here coming up in the next week?
I'm sorry?
Are you looking at these potential yeses on the recruiting trail this week?
Caden Green, maybe?
They may have to give up on a couple of sophomores, some younger.
Yeah, Caden Green is that is not a pure Oklahoma. It's a big upset if Nebraska gets him. I don't look at Caden Green that way. I think they're very much in that.
You checked out the linebacker and wide receiver rooms?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, those numbers, we talked about it. We've intimated those numbers they'll thin you out in a hurry.
Oh, the receiver will thin out quickly. Yeah.
It's a lot of guys that have offers that could say yes.
Yeah.
You done that math?
No, I have not. I've not done the linebacker math. The receiver math I've done a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mickey, there'll be movement for sure.
Well, running back. So your gut says Braswell on Saturday will be in?
I don't know that. I'm not saying that. I don't know that.
But that would be your running back. So there would be 8. You're going to lose another one.
Way deep.
You're going to lose. You probably, you got Marquis Step involved in there.
Yeah.
But it is a good finish to June. I think for a program that they're trying to sell something like Nebraska is, it's been a good month of June. I mean, there are some
really well under the circumstances. Yeah, they've recruited really well under the circumstances.
Kind of amazing, actually.
Yeah, it's amazing. I was talking to Emmett Johnson yesterday, and he just it's interesting talking to kids versus hardened, jaded fans about last season. I mean, Emmett Johnson talked about last season with excitement. I sat down and watched every game with my brother. It's amazing how well they played. They're so close, and I just want to help them get over the top. And, he said the words that just make people around here cringe, but he said it with this sort of wonder, like that's the best 3-9 team I could ever imagine. I can't even believe when I look around that this team is 3-9. In some ways you kind of cringe, like, yeah, they shouldn't have been 3-9. I mean, but it's obviously, that's just one example of a kid that looks at it and says, I see promise in 3-9. I mean, there's no doubt about it. So it's all in how you look at it.
Sip, as always, we appreciate it. Have a wonderful and a safe holiday weekend.
You also, and Shane, I tip my cap to you.
And Shane tips his cap back to you.
Okay.
He gave you a little
Hey,
air fist pound thing. Like,
All right. God bless him.
all right.
Hey, Shane, he says, God bless to you.
God bless you.
Shane's a very religious man as well. Ask us anything. Shane's last Ask Us Anything. Maybe we should ask him the questions. That's coming up next. Plus, by the look on your face, these aren't going to be good today.
You know what I'd ask him.
Yeah. And also Brian Edwards on Sharp Betting in the Morning with Shane on 1620 The Zone.
42 degrees. A lot of folks try to replicate, but you just can't duplicate what 42 degrees does. Why? Well, it's not just the great locations, usually right by your mom's house. And it's not just because they're always clean and the staff's always friendly. Those are bonuses. It's the knowledgeable staff. The training on all the products that the staff receives is incredible, which is really what makes them the go-to source. I have questions. They have answers. If you have questions, they have answers. The varying degrees and strengths, that stuff matters. Vegan, the gluten-free products, what absorption rates are what? That all matters. 4th of July is right around the corner, and you're thinking, what about the babies? But they're really your dogs. Well, tell you what, their wildlife section for their treats, heck of an alternative to dealing with the fireworks. You got questions, they got answers. Again, ton of great locations right by your mom's house. It's 42 degrees, and make sure you tell them Damon sent you.
All right, this is the last time that Shane gets to participate and ask us anything, and we are going to reverse the tables, and we're going to ask him questions. And either Damon or I are going to win a gift card to...
No, we can't do that.
Oh, okay. So people that have written...
Hey, Dave. He's like, fellas, you can't do that. Can't win your own prizes.
Brandon, Shane hasn't left yet. We'll address that question that you have afterwards.
Shane, why is your mic not working? Is this Chance's first rodeo?
Is this your first rodeo, Chance?
The big red button says
I can't even imagine what tomorrow's going to be like. Just come in here
Don't
on
even
one.
worry about it.
Casamigos for everybody. Maybe some.
This is brought to you by Oscar's Pizza and Grill. We do this every week. You know, the 2 fine locations, Lakeside Plaza, 173rd and Center, for the whole experience. Right. Or takeout, 162nd and Maple. It is Oscar's Pizza and Grill. Wings, pizza, atmosphere. What more could you want?
Nothing.
That's why people get to ask us.
Essentially
nothing.
Cujo. It's teriyaki and the hot's blended. Cujo, though. Gotta give him charbuff.
You ever watch that movie?
Yeah, I've seen it a couple times. I can't believe I made it through the end, like on the rewatch. It's pretty depressing.
I thought the acting was a little off.
Yeah. Who lives in those decrepit kind of homes, though?
People that show up in the movie Cujo. All right, Shane?
Sounds a lot like the first hour.
So this one is from Justin, his question of the day. First, he says, happy Thursday, gentlemen.
Well, happy Kwanzaa to you, too.
And his question is, don't ask why, but you're in prison. You have to give up one of the following for a year: watching college football, or, and I'm not going to say this word because I haven't been in prison, so I don't know how to say it. Conjugal visits.
Conjugal visits.
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Conjugal visits.
By the way, your outro, your verbiage was fantastic.
On the outro?
Yeah, when you were talking about your
leaving.
I was waiting for something to be not conjugal, but not.
I thought we were doing
conjugal.
See, I thought we were doing it tomorrow, and Shane came to me today before the show started and said, "Hey, I want to do something."
Well,
today.
it takes a lot of nerve, so you got to strike while the coal is hot. You just can't do that on demand.
Hey, I'm glad you were able to make the announcement. Other people wanted to make it on air before you made it.
So wrong. Hey, so by the way, Shane, is that it? Just college football or conjugal visits?
Yeah.
Yeah. See a pigskin.
Yeah, I can follow pigskin from afar.
Hey, how'd the game go? I don't want anybody else's play-by-play on the other thing. They can just tell me what happened.
Basic should have been, what would you rather score with while in prison?
Yeah. Yeah.
Do you have to earn a conjugal visit in prison?
I don't even know the rules.
Okay. Well, that's probably good.
Yeah.
All right.
And is that, I mean,
if you're locked up for a year, yeah.
Maybe are there particulars if you're married? We have lawyers out there. Maybe they should tell us. Not that
So you guys are both axing football?
Yes.
Yeah, we're
Get it out of here.
We're going with the visit.
Okay.
I
All
know
right,
what you'd pick, football, because you haven't missed the other your whole life.
Wow. This one's from Brian in this Ask Us Anything segment.
What?
You could just keep it moving. Keep it moving.
This is probably more for Gary than Damon since Gary calls arena games. But after having spent the last couple of months watching the
played it.
Avs
Does that
blast through, man, this one's long. So just bear with me here. Give me about 4 or 5 minutes to get through this. Watching the Avs blast through everybody on their way to a cup, I've wondered how hard is it to tune out the arena when calling a game? I know you guys have producers and the stats people taking in your ear the whole time you're doing play-by-play or color, but I watch Sean on numerous occasions talk seamlessly while all you could hear in the background is the arena announcer calling out the goal or penalty or whatever usually gets the arena guy screaming to the fans. All I could think while watching at home is there is no way I would be able to stay focused and finish a thought while the arena guy is screaming in the background or the music is cranked up to 11 in the background. Do you just tune it out or at some point, or is it in kind of distracting you all, or are you just a professional?
Thanks, Ron Burgundy.
Yeah. That one I probably could have reread, but then I'd been late 5 minutes to the segment here.
You have your
Thank you, Brian. That's actually pretty
the
good.
way your crowd mic and that noise is filtered through your headset is lower.
Yeah, we say lower it's not the return. It is.
It can be.
Yeah,
returns come back from the station, but you can adjust that. But I always want to hear the crowd, but not overwhelming me.
You know the hardest part is to not yell.
Yeah, that's true.
Do you wear the noise canceling headphones to cancel out some of the outside noise?
Well, I just wear a headset.
Just a headset?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Usually good headsets will filter the noise so that it's not overwhelming, but you control it also by how much you turn it up.
Some systems are more delicate than others too. Isn't that right, Chancey Pants? What else you got over there, Liquid?
Okay, so this one's from Jamie. We already know Damon was shortchanged when it came to the yard game travel, but how did you guys celebrate the 4th of growing up, and what is your favorite firework memory?
4th of July parade, Urbandale, Iowa. I was in the float 1 year. On our float, a dog fell off the float and got run over.
I remember being captivated by Coach Huffman being able to use his hands for bottle rockets. He ditched the bottles a long time.
He just hold them in his hands and light them?
Yeah, he knew what he was doing with just his hands.
That'd be a good story to use this fall during Friday night games.
I'm not a huge fireworks guy, so I like tanks and snakes.
I did like the snakes,
and
I like the snaps, but then it became throwing them at people.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the next one. This one's from Craig.
Craig Mack.
He's in this Ask Us Anything segment. And by the way, thank you for everybody who's emailed in and has allowed me to read their emails. I appreciate it. Chance will be getting back to the winner, so just a heads up on that. But with all the changes on
this absolving responsibility on the fly, man. This dude is something else.
With all the changes on the staff and transfers, it seems like it's been about 644 days since Nebraska played last. What has been the longest off season for you guys? And with the first game against Northwestern being an early morning game, will you wake up with coffee or a latte? And does the latte have to be hot?
COVID for sure, because Nebraska was late.
And the Big Ten didn't start till late October.
Yeah. So the COVID off season for sure. I don't drink coffee, but if I was gonna get primed, I'm gonna take an amino energy drink. The brand is Optimum.
Yeah.
And I'm going with green apple.
I'm drinking right away. 58 days from now. I'm gonna get up and I'm gonna start drinking.
Yeah, okay. Says the guy who has no responsibilities. You can't just do that.
Why?
Shane?
Yes.
One dinner date at Shalotsky's, as you'd like to say.
Mm-hmm.
One of the 3 WWE divas you took a picture with, or Miss Brooke Delano?
Okay,
Which
so So what's the question now? Once more.
You're going to Shalotsky's, as you like to say. You're going to get a $12 sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
One of your affinities would like to go with you. Are
Okay.
you taking one of the 3 WWE divas that we met in studio, or are you going with Brooke?
I'm gonna go with Brooke.
I knew you would.
It's one of the great pictures that we'll share tomorrow. Yeah.
Well, it's already.
Yeah.
I think my
Thanks to our good friends
my
at
nutty man in Lincoln already sent it out.
Good job, Ray. Thanks to our good friends at Oscar's Pizza and Grill, 173rd and Center or 162nd and Maple, which is takeout only. You got a gift card coming your way. Good questions, everybody. Always good questions and good discussion as our Vegas insider. Brian Edwards joins us now. I don't know if Shane has shared the news with you, but you and Shane have been talking for a long time. Shane is leaving the show.
Of course, he shared with me. I got a personal phone call yesterday that I appreciated, and shout out to Sugar Shane and best of luck in his next endeavor.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate that.
You got it, my brother.
B, what do we got? We're talking win totals.
Yep. Let's start with Miami.
Good
it
one.
Is 8.5 shaded to the over, -120. They go 7-5 straight up, 6-6 against the spread last year. 7 starters back on each side, 14 total. 11 transfers coming in, 10 from the Power 5. They ranked in terms of transfers from 24/7 Sports, 12th nationally. Van Dyke, now he only played 9 starts, but was very, very good last year. 25-6 TDI and T ratio. I look at the schedule. I'm kind of gentle the first go round. I went 7-2. The 2 losses being at A&M and at Clemson, with 3 swing games being at Virginia, Florida State at home, and Pitt at home. That was my gentle grade. I'm going to give them a W against FSU. I'm going to call for the upset by Pitt, and then that will have them 8-3, and so it will come down to the game at Virginia whether they go over or under. So it is a pass for me.
All right, let's go to Michigan because their offense should be more explosive throwing the football because they're going to need to work in some new pieces on defense. I see a 4-0 start to the season. Colorado State, Hawaii, UConn, Maryland before they go to Iowa. They are in contention again for the East. What do you think about their win total?
Yes, so it is 9.5 flat at FanDuel, -110 either way. DraftKings has got it shaded to the over, -125, also 9.5. My gentle, I went through, I got 9-0 with 3 swing games. 3 swing games being at Iowa, Penn State at home, and at Ohio State. But let's give them an L at Ohio State, that revenge game, to make them 9-1. I'll give them the win at home to Penn State. And so I got them 10-1 with 1 swing game at Iowa, but they're already over. So I lean to the over. I'm not saying I'll play it.
Okay.
All right. What about they're a favorite. Sharpie says he would take them over a couple of the usual suspects because he loves their offense. What about the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Yeah, so FanDuel and DraftKings, now those were the only books I looked at. They both have it at 10.5, but the over is -220. Now,
Why not
you
just
like
move
the under, it's +180. Man, their defense was, not the last 2 defenses have not been vintage Ohio State. They do have 8 starters back on that side. Phil Steele's national unit rankings, I've got a minute, right? Yeah. Number 1 quarterbacks, number 2 running backs, number 3 O-line, number 5 D-line, number 18 linebackers, number 14 DBs, number 17 special teams. That's pretty darn good. I look at them 8-0 with 4 swing games, being Wisconsin at home, but I'm going to call that a win, make them 9-0. At Sparty, let's leave that a swing game for now. At Penn State, I think they probably win that. and I've already given them Michigan. So I think it's 11-0 with the Sparty, but I'm not laying minus 220 on a season win total bet.
Why wouldn't they push it to 11, B?
That's a great question, Damon, and I hate those are the only two books I looked at. I would imagine some other books will push it to 11, I would think, or maybe even 11.5.
Now let's shift to before we get you out of here. This weekend's going to be a good weekend for UFC. We have 2 title fights. UFC 276 in Vegas. Where would you like to start on the title fights and what you like this weekend?
Okay, I am going to go with a 4-fight parlay that's plus 206. I'll go with Adesanya, O'Malley, Muniz, and Macy Barber. Adesanya, O'Malley, Barber, Muniz, plus 206. I'm going to bet Strickland over Piella, the kickboxer, about even money or minus 105. And I might try Adesanya inside the distance, which is plus 135 is what I saw. But I got a lot of respect for Cannonier. He's just up there in age. If I did the Adesanya inside the distance, it would not be for much. I think Cannonier is probably going to give him a pretty tough fight. I don't think Adesanya win. And man, I don't know that I'm going to bet it, but I'm going with Max. I thought he won the second fight. Now it's dangerous going against Volkanovski. He has looked so fantastic.
But he's 2-1.
Max won the second fight. Say again.
He's 2-1.
Yeah, I mean, I lean Max, but it's dangerous betting against Volkanovski. He's been so good lately. But Max has been great, and I thought he won the last fight. So that's the one I'm really looking forward to. I'll probably have Max for a little bit.
Hey, which old guy that I think we both have cheered for looks more like his old self, Cerrone or Lawler?
Or Miller. I don't know. It's so hard with Lawler. He was in such a slump, and then Nick came in so out of shape. That Lawler looked great, but it's like was he facing washed up Nick? I don't know.
Should be. It's a sneaky good card.
It's a really good card, man, and I hope Cowboy and Miller have a good fight, and I hope Miller's on the last fight of his contract, even though he's won back-to-back second-round knockout.
Yeah, maybe a swan song. He likes being a dad now, man. Cerrone.
He what now?
He likes being a dad.
Yeah, he does. He does. I just don't want to see Cerrone get knocked out anymore.
Oh, me both.
Exactly. B, have a great holiday weekend. Will you be on the beaches of Destin, or where will you be?
Oh, I will be on the beaches of Santa Rosa Beach. Destin's about 25 miles west of me. I'll be beaching it right here, Santa Rosa Beach.
All right. Someday, Damon and I are going to come down there, and we'll go up to Floribama.
Please, let's do it.
I think I'd probably more enjoy our time when we were in Vegas last time, B.
I might enjoy that better too.
Hey, thanks, B.
All right, guys. See you.
That's Brian Edwards, our Vegas insider at Vegas B. Edwards. All right, that was quite the informational hour. There a lot of stuff just happened there.
Yeah.
Shane just bailed on the show. All right. If you're just kind of catching up now, Shane Schillerberg, after 22 years at NRG Media, tomorrow will be his last day, and we will send him out appropriately. A little family here. I don't know what Shane's doing. See, so he's on
cloud nine.
Anything goes. You don't know what you're going to get tomorrow.
This dude's like, I'm rich.
You'll get 4 hours. Big thanks to Chance. Chance is in the middle of us saying goodbye. Very awkward.
Oh, Chancey Pants.
Yeah.
I'll be fine.
He'll be back again tomorrow. For Damon, I'm Gary.
He's out
Shane,
there.
what are you doing?
He's out there.
Wow. Everything you have avoided doing for 22 years
He
now
doesn't
is,
give a what. This dude is just acting foolish.
Yeah.
Get him, Shane.
Yeah. We'll see you tomorrow at 6.